my god, hi guys. Oh my god, hey. Hey, have you guys heard of a thing called the morphogenetic field or something? It's extremely warm in my room. I was very committed. Hey, Ruth. I was very committed to starting Zero Escape today. Me when the field is morphogenetic. I was very committed to starting Zero Escape today because I know people were excited about Zero Escape. That said, I did not get a lot of sleep. So I don't know how long I will actually stream today. Luckily, like, I know total gameplay-wise, this isn't an extremely long game, so it's not like it's gonna take me, you know, as long as like an Ace Attorney game would. It'll still take like a while longer than it would take me to play it on my own, I'm sure. But I think it'll be shorter than an Ace Attorney, you know? So I'm not too worried about like keeping too strict a schedule for Zero Escape. It's so hot out, my energy is zapped. No, literally. It's so hot out. Yeah, I think I literally got like 4 hours of sleep because it was too hot out. Which does not bode well. I'm also currently eating chicken nuggets. So thank God for the just chatting screen, saving me time. Letting me stall while I continue to eat my chicken nuggets. Because I was watching K-pop Demon Hunters. K-pop Demon Hunters is really fun. You should watch K-pop Demon Hunters. But I started the movie like a little too late. So I was like, I can speed eat and also make sure stream is set up. I can't do both of those at separate times. So I'm still eating chicken nuggets. All whilst stalling for time for Zero Escape purposes. I also, background music's loud? No, loud. I'll turn it down. Oh no, you're right. I totally forgot to turn it down. No, I was supposed to do that manually. You're right, Maddie. I forgot. It's because I turned it up when I have to leave people in the car with their favorite tunes on while I was on break. I forgot I had to do that manually. So we're gonna do the DS version of Zero Escape. And we're doing the DS version because a council of cool people in my phone who know more about Zero Escape than I do told me to do that. Most people told me, I mean, like the Steam version's fine, but I'm like, do we want fine or do we want the DS version? Also, just like from the little I've seen of Zero Escape so far, it is very like, it feels like a very specific era of game. And I feel like the DS version of a game is like the right way to go for that. It is gonna look a little bit crunchy, I think, just because of how the upscaling works. But we deal. It has a certain charm to it. If you're not a coward, it has a certain charm. It really benefits from the DS graphics and overall vibe, yeah. So my experience with the Zero Escape series is I know extremely major spoilers entirely on accident. I say on accident. I didn't block spoiler tags or anything. It was designed with the DS in mind and it shows, yeah. I get that feeling a lot with Rise from the Ashes. I feel like it's less like... The thing with Rise from the Ashes is like... Rise from the Ashes and Apollo Justice is you can tell like every minigame there was like designed for like use with a console. It is one of my, like, I wouldn't say it's my least favorite thing about Apollo Justice, but it is like mildly odd to me to have the minigames at all. Ooh, you want to use the touchscreen so bad? You want to use the microphone? I sure hope I don't ever have to use the microphone in Zero Escape. Also, like, I call this game 999 when I talk about it. I have never remembered the full title of the game ever in my life. I've never known what order the words were in. I've also never ever called it the Nonary games. So I've always been calling it 999. But the problem is if I type, we're starting 999, like with numbers, it doesn't look right. I don't think you do. Granted, I'm more familiar with the Steam version. I can't imagine there's a reason for me to, right? I guess we'll find out. I also, is it like completely not voice acted, or is it like there are a few lines here and there? I know Junpei doesn't have a voice. I don't need the mic. Thank you, Roof. So the spoilers that I know, which are really unfortunate spoilers to know, I feel. I know who Zero is, which is kind of huge. I know a certain character's full government name when I definitely shouldn't, because it implies things. And I know the context behind Junpei, that's prejudice. So without spoiling anything, that's all I got. But like, with the Zero Escape, or not Zero Escape, with the Uchikoshi game, it doesn't matter if you know spoilers, like, it's about the journey. Like, I know there is an ending called the axe ending. I don't know what that means. I mean, I can guess it has to do with an axe, and presumably killing people with that axe. I don't know how we get there. I also know there's a syringe ending in, I want to say, just the... I don't remember if it's like just the Steam version has it or something, or like it's different in one version. The games are so insane, the spoilers don't make sense until you play it. It's just in iOS. Why? Why did they do that? Why? Why would you do that? The other context, I do know Somnium Files. I played the Somnium Files like a year or two ago? And then I watched Kate and Ren play through Nirvana Initiative. And I will be getting No Sleep for Konami Date. The iOS has no gameplay either, it's just the novel. What the hell? Wait, what do you, like... I say this as a person who very much enjoys visual novels, and thinks it's funny when people do the joke of like, wait, what do people even do in visual novels? Do they just read? Like, yeah, I would like to just read, but like, what do you mean it's just the novel? Why? Don't you still have to do the math though? Like it's very simple math, but still. What do you mean there's no gameplay? What does that mean? I did watch, like, I watched somebody, like, in a Discord server play through the beginning of this game. There are no puzzles or anything, apparently. Then why would you play it? So, yeah, I watched somebody play through the beginning of this game, and then, like, our schedules didn't match up, so I just, like, stopped pretty early on, I think. I got as far as, like, the kitchen. Of course, that could just mean nothing, because it could be totally possible that you entirely bypass the kitchen in one route. I don't know. But I don't think I got very far. That's pretty early. Yeah, I only watched like 1 or 2 sessions of this person playing. And then I like did not continue because I didn't know how to search for that without just like completely starting over. So I just haven't touched the game in a hot second. But we get to do it together now. Okay, let me actually like switch to gameplay. I can eat chicken nuggets and visual novel at the same time. That's the wrong window. Whoop. Oh no. You didn't see anything. Okay. So, I thought it would be cute. If I, because my layout is a little busted. Actually, it's still a little busted. Oh, we're just gonna let I guess we're just gonna let this play now. I thought it would be cute if I got into the Uchikoshi spirit of things, and I am gonna move it down slightly, but I thought it would be cute if I put a cipher in the space that's like unoccupied. So I put a cipher in. God, it's still really loud. Sorry, I just saw the 96 degrees Fahrenheit. Telepathic mechanism hypothesis. Something about God. Christ. Sorry about that. But yeah, I thought it'd be cute if I put in a cipher. The show is so batshit. If folks want to solve the cipher, I guess I can copy paste it into the thing, or people can just guess, I suppose. But I put in a little Uchikoshi Easter egg just for fun. I think it'd be fun if I just tossed in like memes and shit. It's not a meme right now. It's an Easter egg. But I tossed that in just to sort of like add something in the space that's not being used, because I miscalculated and I thought that what's it called? I could have sworn that if you put together like a DS layout like this, it like took up the space in a convenient way, but apparently not. Oh God, it's going again. Zero escape. Hi, Lamp. Welcome. Okay, the like bottom edge of this window is bothering me, so I'm gonna fix that and then I'll actually start the game. Fear not. Did I get it? No. It's gonna keep starting the intro. Good God. I was trying to adjust this window earlier, and I had to keep letting the intro start because I couldn't get it to like, there's like a black border around the screen, so I couldn't get it to match up without letting the intro play. 999 time. Anyway, what do you mean continue? No, come back. Oh, maybe it's from when I like started it the other day to make sure that it was working. Anyway. You'll start from the beginning of the game. Would you like to overwrite this save data? Yes. Not that it matters because I don't think the thing that I'm using to play this counts that as saving, but. Continue eating my chicken nuggets. Maybe I should mark the beginning and the end of the cipher, because I can't tell where it is. I feel like it's not too big of a hint to say that it's a song lyric. Oh boy. God, it's so crunchy. What is happening? Should I get a piece of paper for the digital roots? I'm very bad at mental math. I have to count on my fingers a lot. It'll probably be fine. It exploded. Oh shit. A loud noise startled Junpei awake and his eyes snapped open. This is my first time seeing this on the DS, surprisingly enough. Me too, I think. As they adjusted to the light, he realized that he didn't recognize his surroundings. Ow! Do I have to click everything? Let me check something really quick. I don't think any of the mental math is timed, so you should be fine, even if you have to sit there for a sec to do it. But it will be embarrassing. Then again, I don't think writing it down will help. I don't think it'll make it go faster. I think it'll be faster if I, like, count on my fingers. You do get faster at it with experience. I'm sure, like, I'll start noticing patterns, too. The game gives you a calculator. Cool. Let me uncapture my cursor. Cool. Okay, I will count on my fingers like a normal human. With a crack, Junpei's head connected with something metal. He rolled over and threw out his hand to steady himself, but he found himself groping at empty air. Doing what to the empty air? His balance lost and his still fuzzy mind struggling to understand what was going on, Junpei tumbled down to the cold gray floor. I'm lying on the cold, hard ground. Junpei, that's rude. You don't know the air like that. Ouch! God damn it! Oh, what the hell? I wonder if I can button press? I guess not. Junpei glared around the room, still trying to determine where he'd woken up. The fall had shaken the last cobwebs of sleep from his mind, and finally he understood where he'd fallen from. It was a bed. Hell of a vault to make. A 3-level bunk bed, in fact. Junpei had fallen, apparently, from the topmost bunk. His shoulder hurt, his knee hurt, his hip hurt, his entire body hurt. He could feel a bump forming on his forehead where he'd slammed it against the low ceiling. Fucking idiot. He wondered if that bump was the reason he felt his vision wavering a bit, but that seemed unlikely. At first, he thought the tremor that ran through his legs was just another... Are we back? Are we so back? Okay, I don't know what made it disconnect, but I'm gonna assume that we're back. All right. He tried to tell himself it was important. Rip stream. Junpei rubbed the growing bump on his head and gingerly climbed to his feet. His balance regained, he finally took his first good look around the room. Fully thought that was just on my end. No, it was me. It was a me problem. Not that I know what caused it or what it was, though. How odd. His balance regained, he finally took his first good look around the room. He muttered to himself. Where am I? His pain momentarily forgotten in the face of the confusion of his circumstances, Junpei looked around the room once again. Minutes passed while Junpei struggled to get his bearings. Then, as suddenly as they had begun, the tremors ceased. A cold silence fell over the room. From somewhere far away, Junpei could hear the sound of metal squeaking. He felt his stomach tighten. There were 1,000 things the sound could have been, but none of the things he could think of were good. Oh boy, I sure enjoy being safe and dry in this room. I love being safe and dry and hearing no mysterious noises whatsoever. It's great. I really enjoy it. I recommend it even. In an attempt to distract himself, Junpei looked around the room once more. There was a stove that looked more antique than functional. The 3-level bunk bed had mattresses that were so thin that they were little more than blankets. I love it in this safe, dry room with no mysterious markings on the wall whatsoever. It's great. On the other side of the room was an identical bed, and set in the wall between the beds was a slightly dirty iron door. The first thing Junpei noticed about the door was the number roughly emblazoned across it. On the surface of the door in red paint, someone had written 5. 5? What's this 5 mean? I think it means 5, Junpei. The number after 4? Suspicious and still utterly confused, Junpei approached the door slowly. Standing at last in front of the door, Junpei grabbed hold of the L-shaped handle. A push yielded no movement, and a pull the same result. A few more tries cemented the truth in Junpei's mind. It wouldn't open. It didn't matter how much he pushed and shoved, the handle wouldn't budge. Next to the door was an odd-looking device that reminded Junpei of a card reader. Junpei, we're gonna learn how to count tonight. It didn't take a genius to figure out that the odd-looking device was keeping the door shut. Before 6 even. Junpei knocked hard on the door. Junpei heard his hand. Hey! Hello? Is anyone there? Open the door. This too is Cabernet. There was no response. How polite of him to knock. Junpei threw his left fist into the door. He's being so rude to these inanimate objects today. And stopped. What the hell is this? He wasn't really sure what else to say. On his left wrist was a bracelet of a sort he'd never seen before. Man's never heard of a watch. In the center was a large LCD display. It looked like nothing else so much as a watch. But it clearly wasn't that. After all, it showed only a single number. It could be 5 o'clock. You don't know. 5. That's the same as the door. Good job, Junpei. True, the numbers were the same, but he had no idea what that might mean. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. All he knew was that it was strange and new, and he wanted it off. He's learning! Junpei flipped his hand over as if to remove a watch, but the other side of the bracelet was solid. No buckle, no clasp, nothing. He sighed and flipped the thing back over. There were a number of rivets around the rim of the face. Perhaps? He pushed them, but nothing happened. On a watch, they might be dials for adjusting date or time, but on this bracelet, they did nothing. Junpei was at a loss. What was he going to do? Growing more desperate, he began to tug at it. However... Damn! It's no good. Damn thing won't come off. A steel ring ran from the face around Junpei's wrist and back into the face. He wouldn't be pulling the bracelet off anytime in the near future. What the hell is the deal with this thing? Frustration and desperation were beginning to mix as the reality of the situation began to dawn fully on Junpei. So much was happening, and none of it made sense. Junpei felt as though he were about to explode. Where am I? And why the hell am I here? Why? Why? What the hell happened to me? Oh, right, that. It was at that moment that he noticed the window. The window was round, rimmed in riveted brass, like a window from an early 20th century ship. Also, already looking at the DS layout, I cannot imagine having to be the person to make the executive decision, okay, this is how we're going to port it over. Like... Did I say like a window from an early 20th century ship? Now I have. What? What? Wait, am I in a ship? In multiple Tumblr and Twitter tags that I've seen you are. Junpei walked slowly towards the window. He could see nothing beyond it but thick, impenetrable darkness. Junpei squinted, trying to see something. Anything. It was at that moment. What the? You gotta be kidding me. I was enjoying being safe and dry in this room. I think Junpei needs a shower to help him think. Oh yeah, that's a good idea, Roof. What the hell is going on here? A crack split in the glass of the window, and for a moment, Junpei stared at it. Then the window burst, and water began to pour into the room. What the hell? God damn it! Junpei yelled and spun around. Junpei did a little spin. His feet slipping on the water already coming through the window, he ran for the door. Hey, anyone? Is anyone there? Come on, if you're there, say something. There was no reply. As Junpei screamed and pounded on the door, the water began to rise. Just drink it all. Yeah, if you drink it fast enough, Junpei, I'm sure it'll be fine. Don't worry about like your lungs or anything. It'll be fine. Just chug it. It was now ankle deep on the floor and rising quickly towards his knees. Like, up to your ankles, that's less than your entire body. It'll be fine. Things were not looking good for Junpei. Not good at all. He needed to find a way out. He needed to find a way out! And quickly. Junpei ran a hand across his forehead, brushing the sweat out of his eyes, and looked around the room. Oh, it's the same noise? It's the same noise from Somnium? Seek a way out. I don't know how I didn't notice that. Oh, shit. Operations during an escape. During an escape, you can move to different parts of the room by touching the bottom screen. By touching. Since many areas require very exact selection, we recommend you use a stylus. Good thing I have a mouse. Searching during an escape. God, I forgot that was like, it used to be a preference thing. Like, it used to be like normal to be like, well, you don't have to use a stylus versus like now I wouldn't think of using a DS without a stylus, I feel. But as a kid, I definitely like had moments where I just didn't use it or I would just use whatever random object I had on hand. Crazy to think about. Okay. During an escape, you can touch the background to search anywhere in the room. Areas you can investigate will be highlighted yellow the moment you touch them. Oh, to be localized text that not fitting on like a text box. Depending on the nature of the location you touch, you might find an item or a hint. Begin searching by touching places on the bottom screen. How to move. God, this is a lot of explanation. Touch the triangle icon on the bottom screen. Doing so will change the viewing angle of the room and move you to different locations. You can do the same thing by pressing left, right, and down on the control pad. Bird's eye view. If you want to know where you are, touch... Oh no, I don't know what my buttons are. I should look at what my buttons are, actually. Just in case. Is it here? That's not where it is. Tools? No. Let's see. That's not it. I assume the letter buttons are just letters. This will show you where you are and what direction you're facing. Saving during an escape. Pressing start will allow you to save. Yeah, they figured they'd just explain everything in this escape so they don't have to add stuff later, I guess. If you want to quit, we recommend pressing start. Purpose of the escape. The purpose of each escape is to get out of the room. Thank you, Uchikoshi. How you do that depends on the room. You'll need to search all throughout the room to discover what you'll need to do. To get out. Search for hints and items that may help you find a way out. Okay. Cool. Okay. Oh. That might be difficult with the mouse. Water just keeps pouring through the window. Junpei is slowly drowning while someone tells him how to walk and touch things. Listen, if you're panicking, you need to ground yourself. Hey, Junpei, name 5 things you can see. It's like a waterfall. I don't think shoving something into the window is going to stop the water. In other words, if I don't want to die, I need to find a way out of this room. I have to figure this out. All right. No, I already did that. It doesn't look like that water's going to stop anytime soon. I have to find a way out. About items. During an escape, investigating certain parts of the room will allow you to obtain items. Once you've obtained an item, you'll be able to go to the item screen. Touching L on the top left will take you to the item screen. While on the item screen, you will be able to investigate, hold, and combine items that you found. If you want to investigate an item that you found, touch the icon for that item in the item screen. And then touch search to the... Why am I reading all of this? All right, cool. Picture frame. We can turn it around. An old picture frame. There's a picture of a ship in it. There's screws keeping the back on. Screws keeping the back of the picture frame on. Okay. So presumably, a screwdriver would be helpful. Investigate with an item. Touching an item while on the item screen will select that item. While an item is selected, touching back will return you to the room investigation screen. If you look down at the bottom left corner on the bottom screen, you should see the icon. This shows that you're holding the item. If you hold an item while investigating the room, you may trigger a reaction. Investigate suspicious areas with different items to see if anything happens. Pressing up on the control pad will select another item for you to hold. Let me try really quickly. Ooh, okay, yes, it is just arrow keys for control pad. Cool. Go back to here. A bulletin board. Looks like someone put a note on it. Okay. The note's got in red and in blue. Okay. Cool. Doesn't seem like there's anything hidden on the sink. This is the only drain in the room. There's a towel next to the sink. Bed. Apparently they used to have a real-life Zero Escape attraction where you and some strangers would solve an escape room together. It sounded so fun and they got the voice actors from the port to voice for it. That's fine. This is the middle bunk. This is, as far as I can tell, a pole that's attached to the bed. So I just have to kind of like click on everything. No. Okay. There's a pair of simple chairs next to the table. The water's already up to the chair. It's a pipe. I know. I'll crawl into the pipe and find a way out. There's nobody here to make fun of my lame jokes. Man, this sucks. Alright. No, I already clicked that. That's totally a chair. What am I thinking? I don't have time to sit down and relax. That's a table. Water is pouring onto it, like a little waterfall. I don't see anything useful there. No, we already did that. Say rolls just mash everything. Sometimes you'll get extra dialogue if you click the same thing multiple times. Yeah. Doesn't look like that water's gonna stop anytime soon. I have to find a way out. It's very nice of the water to be doing that so slowly. This is the door to the stove. Well, it opens easily enough. Sure wish the door to get out of here was that easy to open. Well, that solves the mystery of whether or not the stove has been used before. What's this? Looks red. Aha! Okay, let's combine this with that. Well, the screwdriver got those screws off easily enough, and here's the picture. That's what I thought. Okay. So someone wrote a bunch of numbers and symbols on the back of the picture, huh? Really quick. There are a bunch of numbers and symbols written on the back. Okay. Okay, wasn't sure. Needed to check. I don't know if we have enough answers yet. Flip. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Write shit down while I have, you know, while I get the chance. What is that? 7? 4. 6. No! Go back. Okay, I know how to combine items. It's okay, I figured it out. We got it, but thank you. Okay, let me go back. And then the last one is 3, right? 7, 4, 6, 3. Okay. This is totally a stove. Nothing inside, though. Well, let's see if there's anything in here. Huh, looks like there is. Key? Yeah, there's a little blue key in the bottom of this pot. Odd. The key's pretty small. Definitely not for a door. What's it for, then? This key's blue. Is it supposed to open something else blue? Ebe rules. There's an old pot on top of the stove. Nothing in here. I'm looking at a pot lid. Uh-huh. There's a lock on this briefcase. It won't budge. Let's see if there's anything in the keyhole. The number on the dial is 0101. I guess I'm going to need a key before I can put in any numbers. Man, okay, fine. We'll come back. There are some hangers on the pole. It's a closet. The curtain is already open. All right. This is the middle bunk. Doesn't matter what I do, this thing won't budge. Guess it's locked. Is this one just like the red briefcase? I mean, I guess we don't know which one's which yet, right? I don't remember how to do the... There we go. All right, let's see what happens if I put this blue key in the keyhole. And nothing. I guess I'm gonna need some sort of code for the dial. Mini games! During an escape, your investigation may trigger one of several mini games. All operations for the mini games are done by touching the bottom screen. Some mini games will require you to manipulate something, while others will only require you to apply the right object or touch the right thing. Operation instructions. Touching the dial will cause it to move to the next number. Enter 4 numbers this way, then touch the key. If the numbers are correct, it'll unlock. Okay, go back for a second. Open, you stupid thing. I don't think it's gonna open if I whack it on the wall a couple times. Might make me feel better. Not gonna help, though. Alright, Junpei, don't freak out. Keep it cool and look around for some more clues. I do want a really quick check on... Yeah, the red then blue makes me curious. Yeah, that's what I thought. Gonna keep looking around in the meantime. No. I can keep looking till the cows come home. All I'm gonna find up here is that pillow. Damn it. Isn't there anything else I can use? I can't see the bottom of the ladder. Oh man, the water's already up to the bottom of the bed. I gotta hurry this up. There's a pipe at the other end of the bed. There's nothing up top. No. Ah, red key. Junpei grabbed the key and shoved it into his pocket. He intended to leave immediately, but something stopped him. His reflection stared back at him from the mirror, but he had scarcely recognized himself. What's up with my face? His confusion was well justified. His face was drawn and pale, and the dark circles under his eyes made him look as though he was nearly dead. Man, what the hell happened to me? How did I end up here? Even as he said it, something in his mind opened, and his memory bobbed to the surface. It was the last thing Junpei remembered before waking up in the strange room. It was past midnight when he came home. Junpei shuffled up the stairs and opened the door to apartment 201. Inside was his apartment. A small one-bedroom affair that ran him about $630 a month. God, could you imagine? He moved into it when he entered college, and so far he'd been there for 3 years and 7 months. So cheap, yeah. He stepped inside and turned on the lights. The fluorescent lights on the ceiling blinked and flickered slowly to life, as if waking from a deep slumber. Uchikoshi did not adjust for inflation. Their cold light illuminated the landscape he'd come home to so many times before. Everything was as he'd left it. The magazines piled up in the corner, the textbooks collecting dust, the CD cases covering the floor, the jeans and t-shirt he'd worn the day before, then tossed onto the floor. I wonder if they updated it in the port. Probably not, right? There was one thing that didn't belong, however. There was a breeze. Breaths of cold night air wafted into his apartment, carrying the smells of autumn with them. The white curtain framing his window swayed gently in the wind. Huh. That's weird. Did I leave that open? Junpei walked toward the window, trying to remember if he'd closed it or not before he left. One of the panes was hanging open. He stuck his head out, looked around. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Junpei shrugged. He must have just left it open earlier. He closed the window. Jump scare? Then it happened. Me knowing damn well it's coming up. And yet, Junpei turned and found himself face to mask with a man dressed in all black. Guys, I think it's terror. The man wore a deep hood and a bulky gas mask. His face was entirely hidden. Junpei tried to scream, but all he could manage was a strangled croak. He tried to step toward the man, but his legs could no longer support his weight. He looks very friendly. Made himself right at home. Junpei collapsed to the floor, a crumpled heap of limbs, like a discarded puppet. Too late, he noticed the white smoke that was quickly filling his apartment. A small object, shaped distressingly like a grenade, sat on the floor in front of his face, hissing. The white smoke poured out of it at an incredible rate. The smoke had grown so thick that the details of Junpei's apartment began to fade into the white haze. He could feel his mind begin to fade as well, a white haze that was not the smoke creeping into the edges of his vision. Consider this a privilege. Oh wait, hold on, let me get a cup of water for Zero. Consider this a privilege. You have been chosen. A rasping voice wormed its way out of the gas mask. It was cold and harsh and distorted in some way Junpei couldn't put his finger on. You are going to participate in a game. The nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line. That was the last thing Junpei remembered. The white smoke overpowered him, the masked man faded from his vision, and he felt his consciousness fall away into the white mist. That's right. That guy with the gas mask. That son of a bitch must have taken me here. As to who the man was, or might have been, Junpei had no idea. Indeed, he wasn't even sure that his assailant had been a man. The voice had been cold and mechanical, like they passed through a voice changer, and the body had been covered in a thick cloak. Sleepy time. Who was the man in the mask? You have been chosen. Junpei remembered that much, but what it might mean, that was beyond him. I'm at dinner and can't watch. Hi, Daria. I mean, I was gonna say there's a good chance I'm still on while you're at dinner, but I'm not actually sure how long I'll stream today. Luckily, there will be VODs soon. Junpei had no idea where he was or why he was there. There was only one thing from his memory that seemed important. You are going to participate in a game. The nonary game. It is a game where you will put your life on the line in case you've forgotten the past 15 seconds. A nonary game, huh? What the hell is a nonary game? God damn it. With a yell, Junpei drove his fist into the mirror. Persona 5 flashback moment. Honestly, Ace Attorney flashback moment. There's nothing left on the mirror. I wasn't clicking on the mirror. This pipe supports the bed. Nothing left on the mirror. I know there's nothing left on the mirror. Oh, it's because I was clicking on the top screen. 5. 5, huh? What does that mean? It means 5, Junpei. Take a shot every time Junpei says, what the hell? Guess that's a lever, huh? Yes, it is a lever. Good job, Junpei. That is a simple machine. Maybe if I pull it. Why would you pull it? Well, it looks like pulling on the lever just makes a weird noise. Great. I'm sure that's not what it did. Dude. The light's still red and the display hasn't changed. Damn it. Junpei, we have more pressing issues than wondering what 5 is. The groove on the side of this thing looks like it's made to have a key card swiped through it or something like that. Maybe if I can find a card, I can unlock this thing. The only door in and out of this room is right next to the weird device. Anything else on the device? Number hard. Yeah. He's gonna have a rough time. He's gonna have a rough 9 hours if he even knows what 9 is. Do you think Junpei would be scared of 7? I don't care what character 7 is in this moment. Do you think he would be scared of 7 because 7, 8, 9? I think he would. It's the weirdest card reader I've ever seen. Yes. Alright, anything else? Looks like we got a light here and electricity. That's not a good thing in this exact moment. Whoa, now. He's only just learned about the number 5. Let's not overwhelm the poor guy. Somebody's painted a big red 5 on the door. Okay. No, I know. Trying to click on other things. Actually, what do we have in our items right now? We got this. We got that. Okay. Let me go back to the other... Where did it go? Over here. That's not where it was. Fuck, where was it? Where's the red one? Is it over here? Nope. I forgot already. Worst case scenario, I can just climb up there. Yeah, right, like that's gonna work. Blue briefcase. Okay, I put the key in, now I just need to enter the right numbers and... No, I don't need the instructions again! I can't remember if it was this one. It was this one that I tried. It's gonna be faster for me to look for clues. Plugging in random numbers is just gonna get me nowhere fast. I just have to find the right number and turn the key. Then that briefcase should open. Okay, that's great. Where was the red one? This is where we found the screwdriver. This is where we found the key. Oh, it was behind the... Duh. For gore already. There we go. Alright, let's stick the red key in there. It's not opening. In fact, it's not doing anything at all. Well, alright, I take that back. I guess I can move the dial now. Looks like I'm gonna have to put in the right numbers and then turn the key. If I do that, this thing should pop right open. Let's give it a shot. I know how to do the thing. It's okay. I know it's done like that because it's in case you do a certain one first and it doesn't account for like overriding that if you've already looked at another spot. God, I keep missing 3. Damn. Okay, let me actually, like, pay attention to my items. Which one is it? 7, 4, 6, 3. Oh. At least the music is relaxing. Yeah. Hold on. It's so warm, man. It's very warm. Let me grab my fan. Keep my brain from melting a little bit. Wait. Oh, my phone. Ugh. Okay. That's a table. It's winter here, so I'm huddled under a blanket with the heater going. It's really hot over here. Nothing on top of the shelf. Bulletin board, nothing on it. Towel next to the sink. Sink. Sink is a piece of junk. Well, I won't be draining any water here, I guess. Do I have everything? I'm not sure. I can't bring myself to call this a bed. It feels like a board with a sheet on it. It's pretty flat. Doesn't look very comfortable. Got light blue and white stripes. Kind of reminds me of the Argentinian soccer team. This is a bed. No doubt about it. Okay. Aha. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Memo from bed. Okay. Let's combine that with this one. Can we not? Is that not? Does it not matter? Okay. Well, I'll write this one down. Turn. Okay. That one's 7, 4, 6, 3. This one is 0, 2. And then the red is, hold on, 8. 5. Okay, so that is, let me double check. So what is that? Blue is then 0, 2, 6, 3? Yes. So 0, 2, 6, 3, which makes red. This is also the terror configuration, actually. 7, 4, 8, 5. Cool. No. All right, blue was 0. Time to give this another shot. Time to do the operation instructions again. All right, 0, 2, 6, 3. Got it. All right, let's see if these numbers work. Turn out the key and hey, looks like it's working. Yes. All right, let's open it up. How would you feel if it was just like worms? Yes, it opened. Looks like there's something in here. What is this? A file? File screen. If you find any documents or notes during an escape, the information in them will be available from the file screen. To open the file screen, touch File in the top right corner of the bottom screen. Once you're at the file screen, select Files by touching them. Or by pressing on the control pad. If you touch Search, the contents of the file you selected will be displayed on the upper screen. All right, let's see what's in this file. Digital root. Let's see here. Compute a digital root with the following steps. I already know how to do this. First, you add all the numbers in question to one another. If you end up with something greater than a single digit number, add the digits to one another. For instance, if you have a double digit number, add the number in the tens place to the number in the ones place. Keep adding digits in this manner until you have a single digit answer. That final single digit is your digital root. Okay, so ow, my knee. The digital root of 6, 7, 8 would be 6 plus 7 is what? 13? Yes, 13 plus 8. 13. 21. So the digital root would be 3. Yeah, there we go. Therefore, the digital root of 6, 7, 8 is 3. The digital root of 1, 2, 3, 4 would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 10, and 1 plus 0 is 1. Therefore, the digital root of 1, 2, 3, 4 is 1. I see. So I just keep adding numbers until I get a single digit number. Oh, looks like there's something on the back of this thing. A notebook, a pen, a calculator. And a stack of key cards. Huh. Looks like some key cards. There's a number written on each card. 6, 7, 8. Does that mean something? I like vaguely remember this part. Key cards with the number 6 through 8 on them. Cool. New material has been added to the file screen. Calculator. All right, you can use that during an escape. Cool. With the calculator, the numbers on the top are your calculations and the numbers on the bottom are your answer. That is how a calculator works, yes. Okay. It can also calculate a digital root, which will be important to the progression of the story. Oh, I wanted to keep, like, adding the digital roots, though. That's okay. Okay, let's go back to this. All right. This one is if my phone would stop locking in the middle of it so I can use my notes. 7. No, it's gonna explain again. Take a shot every time the operations menu is brought up. 7, 4, 8. No. No. 5. Yes. I unlocked it. It's opening. More key cards. These look like key cards. There's a number on each one. 1, 2, 3. I don't know if it wants me to combine these at all. Probably not. Okay. Hey, did you know you could touch the bottom screen? All right. We got key cards. Let's check out the... Let's look at the door. These cards with numbers on them. I'm pretty sure this is where I'm supposed to use them. All right, let's slide this card and see if it works. It's not gonna. And... Huh? It's not working? Why? Damn it. No, that's right. I still have cards I still haven't used. I mean, those aren't gonna work either, Junpei. But I'll try it. Damn it. Not again. There aren't any more cards in here. I've only got one other hint. Of course. The The files. A file said something about a digital route. Digital route. The digital route, huh? What am I supposed to do with... There's a 5 on that door. Do I have to get a digital route of 5? I'm not really sure about this. Ah, whatever, it's worth a shot. Let's see if this works. I'll just slide the cards that give me the digital route of 5 through the reader. Alright. Touch 3 cards and select them. The digital route of the selected cards will be displayed on the top screen. Touching reset will deselect all currently selected cards. I'm gonna duck out for now, but have fun. Really good game. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. I think I'm gonna really enjoy myself with this game. I'm excited to see where it goes. Yeah, luckily this will be another weekly stream. Not all of the ones that I'm doing this week will continue, but I will be continuing Zero Escape and playing the entire game. Okay, after you've collected 3 cards, touch the device. All right. Okay, so... Well, we don't want to do 5 plus 1 because that'll add to 6. So we're gonna have to go above 5, right? 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, it adds it for you. So you can just trial and error it. This was 2. That doesn't work. 6. No. Nope. 12 doesn't work. 9 is 2. Yeah, that's not it. 13. Oh, there we go. Oh, shit. I didn't do it right. Hold on. Go back. I already forgot which one it was. Go back. I know, Junpei. I just misclicked. Okay. So which numbers do I need to make a digital route of 5? I already forgot. Let's find out. Okay. Oh no, the operating instructions again. Fuck, man. Touch the device after. I swear to God, that's what I did. Okay, what was it? 6? That wasn't it. There we go. All right, I think this is gonna work. There we go. That's a new noise. Huh. Did it just unlock? Well, that light was red and now it's blue. No doubt about it. There's nothing keeping me in here now. Time to go. Let's fucking go. Spooky. You found it. Yay. Accompanied by a wall of angry water, Junpei shot out of the room and into the opposing hall. Wall, even. Gasping to catch his breath, he looked around. He was in a narrow hallway. The water that had followed him out of the room was rapidly pouring out of the door. It flowed quickly down the hallway and slammed into the foot of the short flight of stairs. Just 5 steps, in fact. And at the top of his short staircase... A door! Another door! Junpei leapt up the stairs, straight for the door. The door burst open and Junpei exploded out of it, only to freeze in his tracks. What other possible response could there have been to what he saw? What the hell? His voice trailed off, and all he could do was stare. Good job, Junpei. You learned what a door is. Listen, he's still learning simple machines. He figured out levers. A polished floor stretched out before him. Ornate staircases rising up from the edges, each one of them equidistant from the others. The stairs and pillars were solid wood, and Art Nouveau embellishments and decorations cover the walls and pillars. Also, for, like, considering the era that this game was released in, like, the prose is really good. Like, especially for, you know, English translation of just, like, chunks of text. It looked like nothing so much as the entrance to a luxurious mansion from the early 1900s. Like, there's plenty of stuff these days that don't get localized nearly as well. Junpei couldn't help but wonder. Was he really in a ship? Again, Tumblr and Twitter say yes. At least one. The water quickly filling the hallway behind him suggested that yes, He was. Or you're in a building that's flooding. That's another possibility. As he looked, a fresh wave rolled out of the room he'd been in, gathering speed as it moved towards the stairs. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's really good. It's a good localization. This is totally a boat. Wait, what the hell? Not an easy thing to translate at all. Yeah, no, this is crazy. A wave? Shit, I gotta get out of here. Junpei spun around, his wet shoes squeaking in protest on the polished floor, and ran towards the tremendous staircase in front of him. C deck. B deck? As he ran, he glanced quickly at the plates mounted on the wall, denoting the decks of the ship. He took the stairs 2 at a time, not entirely sure where he would find himself. Just as he began to wonder where, in fact, the stairs did lead. Yay! Junpei saw another person out of the corner of his eye. He stopped short, nearly tripping over the next stair, and looked. It wasn't just one person he'd seen. On the landing to the left of the stairs, there were 4 people staring at him. Yay! And on the right side, 3 more. They're weirdos. All told, there were 7 of them. It looked as though they had been on their way down the stairs. They'd stopped short when they saw Junpei, their eyes wide. He'd done the same, of course, and now they stood there staring at one another. Junpei didn't move, one foot placed awkwardly on the next step, in the middle of a stride. Who were these people? This entire interaction lasted only a matter of seconds. The woman spoke to Junpei, and time began to move again. See, like, that's a really good line. I guess there's another one of us now. The woman was dressed, Junpei thought, rather like a dancer. Her clothes covered very little, and her prodigious jewelry little more. Hey, you! Come on! Hurry! With no further ceremony, she ran straight past Junpei and towards the doors behind him. The sudden proximity of a woman with such striking assets left Junpei momentarily stunned. But the others wasted no time and quickly followed the strange woman. I can't believe you... Junpei's about to die because boob. The first to pass Junpei was a young man with silver hair. He threw a quick glance in Junpei's direction as he ran, muttering, "One of us, huh?" Following him was an older man, his face calm and without fear. Soft wrinkles sprouted from his eyes, and he came close enough that he passed for Junpei to see wisps of gray in his hair. His composure and shock of hair struck Junpei as rather like that of an elderly lion. Going up won't do you any good. There are 2 doors, but neither of them will open. Next to speak was the girl with pink hair and a high voice.
Come on! Aren't you coming? You gotta hurry!
Her small hand was wrapped around the wrist of another man. His eyes were closed, almost as though he were sleeping. His features were graceful, almost serene. And he was dressed rather elegantly for someone his age. Something about his posture seemed very refined, and Junpei couldn't help feeling he was noble and dignified somehow. He'd certainly never seen one, but this man seemed like what Junpei has always imagined a prince would be like. That's 9 of us, then. All of the cards are in hand. What does all of the cards are in hand mean? He wondered. Junpei opened his mouth to ask what the other man had meant, but the girl with the pink hair rushed past him, and they were gone. He turned just in time to see 2 more people running towards him. One of them had hair like a bird's nest and looked as though a stiff breeze might topple him. And the other was a veritable mountain of a man. The scrawny one said nothing and scuttled past Junpei as though he were running from something. Hey, what the hell are you just standing there for? Didn't you hear him? Doors on A deck are no good. We gotta check the doors on B deck. Got it? Now go! Before he had a chance to respond, the man laid a massive hand on Junpei's shoulder. With no more effort than Junpei would have used to brush aside a fly, the man shoved him out of the way. Whoa! Thrown off balance by the man and the recent events, it took Junpei a few steps to get his bearings. He finally regained his balance and looked up at what the other 7 had been running toward. There were 2 pairs of large iron doors set into the wall in front of him. They looked quite sturdy, and each had handles jutting from them. Written across the surface of each door in red paint was a number. The door on the right had a 4. And the door on the left had a 5. They're the same. The guy Junpei had decided to call Silver was mumbling to himself. The hedgehog. The room I woke up in had a number on the door just like that. You too, eh? With an arched eyebrow, the lion looked over at Silver. My cell was the same. A number upon the door. I opened it, ran down the hallway outside, and found myself under the rather grand room. In the grand room. The grand room full of stairs, as I suspect did the rest of you. It was as though the floodgates had been opened. They all began to talk at once. Me too.
I did too.
Yeah, a door with a number on it. It soon became clear that each one of them had woken in a room with a locked door and solved a puzzle to escape. They'd all ended up in the same room. Almost as though they'd been guided there. Yes, we all saw the same thing. That's not important. We need to hurry. You think I don't know that, lady? Before the dancer had time to finish, Silver was already running. He grabbed hold of the door labeled 5 and pulled. However... Fuck, it's not opening. This damn thing won't even budge. Move. You're in the way. The mountain grabbed Silver's shoulder and tossed him aside. His path cleared, he took a few steps back, then threw himself at the door. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. The door shook as his body slammed into it, but showed no signs of breaking or opening. The mountain threw himself at the door again. Junpei turned towards door 4. Next to the door on the wall was a small box. It looked just like the one he'd seen in his room next to that door. If it was the same, then this door was likely locked as well. Still, he had to check. Junpei grabbed a handle and threw all of his weight onto it. Ugh! Ah! It was locked as tight as the door next to it, as he'd suspected. Damn it! Junpei punched the door. It did not respond. Were these the only doors, he wondered? Well, I think, I'm just gonna guess. This is a guess here, Junpei, but I think there might be 9 of them. He'd barely finished the thought when the C-deck plate he'd passed on the way up sprang unbidden to his mind. His body moved before he had time to think. Junpei turned and ran back towards the stairs. He had scarcely taken a step when, at the top of the stairs next to an ornate clock embedded in the wall, he saw a person. It was a girl. She looked to be the same age as Junpei. He froze, unable to look away from her face. He wasn't confounded by her beauty or something equally silly. Not to be confused with the boobs that stopped him dead in his tracks earlier. No, there was another reason he couldn't take his eyes off the girl. Thank you for following, Nori Vocado. Nori Vocado? Oh no, my alerts aren't, like... They're not making noises. I heard 0 escape and came as fast as I could. Many such cases. I'm not sure if the alert played or not. I hope it did. Hold on. I guess it didn't. Let me double check really quick. Yeah, damn. There should have been a nice little alert, but alas. Darn. Junpei had seen her somewhere before. He couldn't quite remember where, but he knew. He knew he'd met her before. The girl, too, stared at Junpei, similarly stunned. Her response suggested she'd seen him before as well. Twitch is hard. Sometimes stuff just stops working for no reason. That's so real. Without saying a word, Junpei walked slowly towards her. She didn't move. It was almost as though she was held in place by some sort of magic spell. As Junpei stepped onto her landing, the spell broke. No sooner had he set his foot down than the whole ship shook a second time. Ah! The quake caught the girl unprepared and she fell. Moving on instinct, Junpei leapt to catch her. Or so he thought. Of course, this is a game from a very specific era, so of course they land like this. Her face was far closer than it should have been, mere inches from his own. He was flat on his back, and she had landed squarely on top of him. The girl seemed as confused as he did, and her face suggested she still hadn't fully recovered from seeing him. Anime moments, got an anime moment. Why are there straight people in my video game? Don't they know it's Pride Month? For a moment that seemed to stretch for a very long time, they stared at one another. The ship stopped shaking. Everything was quiet. Water could be heard from the bottom of the ship, lapping faintly at walls and ceilings, but eventually that faded as well. No way is Junpei straight. He's the most bi guy who ever was bi. I believe you, Roof. I'm always on your side. The silence was complete. A thick, muffling blanket. At last, the girl opened her mouth.
Oh my gosh. Is that you, Jumpy?
Jumpy. Her words echoed through Junpei's head, and suddenly his memory returned. True, like, did we hear how he described Snake? True. Akane? Why hadn't he realized it before? The girl was Akane Kurashiki. She and Junpei had been friends in childhood. They'd gone to elementary school together for 6 years. But what was she doing on the ship? Her soft eyes were only inches away from his own. He could feel the warmth of her face. Feelings he'd thought long forgotten began to work their way to the surface. He could feel his face heating up. At that moment, a speaker crackled to life and a cold, eerie voice filled the room. I just put the cup away. Hold on. Welcome aboard. I welcome you all from the bottom of my heart to this, my vessel. Also, this is so interesting. I played the remake, so it's cool to see someone play the OG DS version. I was cautiously advised to play the DS version, so I got my hands on that first. With the voice's invasion, the spell between Junpei and Akane was broken, and all hints of burgeoning romance instantly forgotten. They hurriedly untangled themselves from one another and struggled to their feet. Their 7 companions had heard the voice as well, and many of their faces had gone pale. They looked around frantically, desperate to locate the source of the voice. At last they found it, a speaker set in the ceiling. I am Zero, the captain of this ship. I am also the person who invited you here. I can read. The voice was harsh, obscured occasionally by the crackle of static. But Junpei recognized it. The DS version is better in my opinion. In the remake, they got rid of a lot of the narration, so Junpei constantly states the obvious out loud, and it's kind of silly. I like the narration a lot. They both have their pros and cons, I think. I really like the voice acting in the remake, but the DS version means you get all the narration I accidentally missed out on during my first playthrough. Yeah, I really like the narration. I like when my not books are book-like. Speaking of, I've had like really bad Great Comet brain rot again recently. People should listen to The Great Comet. It's very good. I have a friend who isn't a huge fan of The Great Comet, specifically because it's a very literary musical. And if people aren't familiar with it, it's a adaptation of a 70-page section of War and Peace. It's a really good musical. I don't know anything about War and Peace outside that musical. But what was I gonna say? The lyrics include narration. So the characters will like speak in third person, basically. Oh, you got to see Great Comet? Great Comet's God, like that, like the set for the Great Comet, at least like for the production that I saw in slime tutorial format. It's really cool because the audience gets to sit sort of like in the stage. And so the cast gets to weave in and out. It's a really, really cool musical. If you are a fan of the things I like, you should check out Great Comet. Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. It's really, really good. Love Great Comet. Anyway. Also, speaking of voices, as far as Zero Escape is going, with my Great Ace Attorney streams, I'm doing a bit more of an organized format. I've assigned people to cases. Obviously, you know, life happens if people can't make it or they need to switch dates or whatnot. Like, I'll accommodate. But for Zero Escape, I think what I'm going to end up doing is just like being like, hey, if anybody's free on Sundays, today notwithstanding, because I'm feeling a little bleh, and it's very warm in here, so I don't know how long I'll be streaming. But I've had a couple people be like, oh, do you want like another voice for Zero Escape? And so I'm like, yeah, anybody who's free. Whoever wants to, feel free to like join in. Not today though. Maybe next week. The performers were all singing and dancing and playing instruments at the same time, and I think my eyes turned into hearts right then and there. Yeah, it's crazy how much they do in that production. And like the instruments they're playing are not like, it's not somebody accompanying themselves on like guitar. It's like violinists and like accordion. Like it is a crazy production. Even if you don't watch it, watch the Tony Awards performance that they did, just to get like a glimpse of what that show looks like. Novel mode keeps some of it, but still switches a lot of lines to have characters state them out loud. That way people who only played an adventure don't miss out vital information. Damn, that's like a lot more adaptation than I expected. I heard one of the songs when Jack sung it and it was great. Might need to watch the whole show. The whole show is great. Roof, if you get a chance, watch the Tony Awards performance. It's like a medley. And it like... It's just a really, really good performance, and like really good highlights of what's in the show. But then also there's some good slime tutorials out there for Great Comet, so I recommend watching the whole thing if you can. I saw that and went, yes, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And then I dropped out of musical theater college. That's so real. That's extremely real. A thing about me is I did, I mean, in a very like amateurish sense, I did musical theater elementary through high school. I didn't ever really do it outside of school. I just like hadn't considered it at the time, but I was a choir kid primarily, and by extension a musical theater kid. I get asked sometimes if I act, and I'm like by proxy. I've never really trained in acting, and I don't really lock in that hard when I act, but I am trained in singing. And by like nature of doing musical theater songs, I ended up acting a lot. Not acting a lot, but like anytime I was acting, it was something I'd ended up doing. It wasn't something that I had like it wasn't necessarily like a passion or a expertise of mine. And then I went to college and I was like, I want to focus on school a little bit, at least for like my first 2 semesters ish. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll get back into music. I really miss voice lessons. I miss doing musical theater. So I took a musical theater singing class that was intended for mostly amateurs. There were a couple of like actual actors and singers in my class, but it was very open to all skill levels. So I took that for a while and got to do like a cabaret style class for a while. And then COVID hit. And I stopped doing musical theater or vocal anything for a couple of years. And then a certain adaptation of Ace Attorney rolled around, and some of my friends told me to audition for it, so I did. And then I started singing again because of Ace Attorney musical on the internet. So you guys should definitely check out Tam. You're gonna like, not to get like too sappy about Tam on main, but like I've been singing more consistently lately. My voice has like improved in a measurable way that I haven't really experienced since I've had formal like training in it, and I really owe that to Tam, for sure. The microphone I'm currently using, I would not have bought if I was not in Ace Attorney musical. Yeah. Tam good. Turnabout musical good. Acting is hard. You have to do all this character stuff while remembering your lines and blocking and stuff. I could never. I find that like the what's it called? The memorizing stuff happens. Like it just sort of happens on its own for me. I was also I did do dance outside of school. So dance and music were things that were in my expertise, but like I didn't consider acting like a thing that I did. But now I have a bunch of voice actor friends who keep telling me that I voice act, so maybe I should listen to them a little bit. Tam is awesome. We love the Tam team. Guy who is not a part of it, but I see all the hard work they do. Listen, if we ever do, Maddie, if we ever do any sort of production or something in the area, you're like getting roped into it, basically. if you want that, like, there's a non-zero chance of that happening. You're a great singer and voice actor. Thank you, Roof. So are you. You are also a very good singer and voice actor. Anyway, speaking of voice acting, oh, I'm roping myself into it. Exactly. Exactly. We need some sort of turnabout musical Chicago thing to happen. Real, not clickbait. Oh, speaking of which, listen to my most recent cover. Trust me, I will be there. You can't shake me off. Okay. Oh, fuck. It was the same voice he had heard from the man in the gas mask. That the way I said gas mask made it sound like the mask was made of gas, not that it was a gas mask. Hey, asshole, what the hell is this? I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I watched the HD version of this game. I feel like they toned down how much Santa swears. Or maybe I'm wrong and maybe it was notable how much he was swearing. Come on out here. I want to get a look at you. What do you mean to do to us?
I mean to have you participate in a game. Some of you, I know, are familiar with this game. The nonnery game.
He does swear a lot, but like, I don't know if he like said the fuck word nearly as much. Like one of his first lines is just, fuck.
It is a game where you will put your life on the line.
Oh my god. Sorry, the Lotus front-facing sprite looks... After being so used to like Ace Attorney and Somnium Files and stuff, I was so surprised to see the Zero Escape characters say fuck, yeah. Oh my god, Lotus, I'm so sorry. What do they do to you, girl? What do they do? In Ace Attorney, Maya Fey gets to say the word whore once. God, she looks bad. Sorry, I'm sorry, Lotus. Ugh. I have a feeling that Lotus is going to be the Julie character, just based on everything. If there is a Julie character, I think it's gonna be Lotus. In terms of brain rot, I think I'm gonna like Snake a lot. But I wish she were not designed like that. A Lotus cosplay is not, you will not see a Lotus cosplay from me. Nonnery game. What the hell's that? It's like, I feel like the likelihood of me cosplaying Zero Escape is significantly lower than me cosplaying Somnium Files. Like Somnium Files, I have a good chunk of characters that I want to cosplay. Or at least like, even if I don't want to cosplay them immediately, like there's more characters that fit my vibe. But Zero Escape is like, ugh. It's lacking in the Julie character department. Hello from the land of the lurking. Hi, Twilight Fairy. Hello. Thank you for the first time chat. I also actually, because it's one of the newer point redeems, I have a little say hi point redeem for one Plum Blossom. And you can press it if you're a lurker. Or if you're not a lurker, you can say hi whenever you want. Well, I think you can only do it once for a stream. I think I set it to that. But you can say hi. Yay! Hi! Lotus is very Julie coded character-wise, but I feel like you might like Clover design-wise for actual cosplay purposes. Yeah, the Gyaru would get me. Hi! Oh, I guess you can do it multiple times. Not a spoiler, but apparently she's dressed like that because she was kidnapped on the way back from her belly dancing class. But the actual reason is fan service. Yeah, I have heard that she is actually a belly dancer. The thing though is it's still the were I typing this out, I would say the belly dancer outfit, like capitalized. It's just a kind of weird Orientalist trope that pops up in anime and anime adjacent things a lot. You might like a Zero Time Dilemma character design for cosplay. Is it the one that I'm thinking of? She has like a jacket over like the bikini top thing. Yeah, it's not a great look to have Lotus wear that. Also, again, yeah, the reason is fan service. I was, you know, both on one hand, it was another time, and also anime keeps doing this shit. You know, oh my god, you know where it happens so often? And it's so annoying. Idol, like, series. Like, every single Idol series has some belly dancer outfit. So, like, the only Idol series that I have any stake in, really, of, like, you know, the standard Idol, like, culture thing, gacha in general, yeah, we were tearing apart Genshin Impact in my server once. Good lord. But specifically, like, the standard, like, Idol unit, like, like, ensemble cast of characters, there's always one of those. Like, Love Live has one. I think it's literally called, like Arabian Dancer or something, is, like, that line of outfits. And I'm pretty sure, like, Ensemble Stars might have one, but the only, like, Idol series like that I have any stake in is Utano Prince Sama. And I thought they were immune to it. I hadn't seen it, and yet they were not immune. It's also Utapri has Cecile is a character from ambiguous foreign nation that doesn't exist. I miss Utapri so bad. And I don't know how people get into it these days in the West. Clearly the fandom still exists to some extent because Anime Expo had a concert like last year with the Utapri Seiyu. And I was so mad because I love the music in Utapri. I have no idea how to get into it anymore. I like watched the first 2 seasons of the anime when they released. It's not good. It's not like quality writing. I don't care. The music slaps and there are pretty anime boys. Also, Ryunosuke's Seiyu is in it. If you like any Seiyu, there is like a solid chance that that voice actor is in Utapri. I really liked Utapri because I had a really big crush on Daisuke Ono growing up. And he is one of the singers in Heavens. And I wanted to listen to him sing, and it worked on me. Also, I think Heavens is better than Starish. But what was I going to say? The music is really good, so I listen to Utapri music like regularly. I have no clue how people are getting into Utapri these days. The other thing is I said Western fandom. I should specify English-speaking fandom because there are like pirated versions of Utapri content that you can find. It's like all in Spanish or Portuguese though, which I can't read. So it's like they only have a fan base in Latin America, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's even like European Spanish or Portuguese. Which, to be fair, it's like, I feel like it's a common phenomenon that like a fandom is just really big in Brazil for some reason. Probably just like population density wise, but it's really funny anytime it happens. Anyway, I can't find anything for Utapri anymore. You can't even like find you can't even find Utapri uploaded on like sketchy sites anymore. Like it's already like been taken down from those places. Anyway, Lotus as a character is great though. Yeah, I believe that. I think I'm gonna like her character wise. Also, yeah, Maddie, the ZTD character, I have seen her. I vaguely know what's wrong with her. And I'm like, yeah. The voice continued. Implaceable. Implaceable? Implacable? Implaceable? Oh god, I put the cup away again. I keep putting it down, and then Zero keeps talking.
The rules of the Nanari game can be found upon your persons. They are simple rules. Read them.
Nanari game? Hey, there's something in my pocket. Check this out. That's a bad line, Santa. I'm kidding. Silver reached into his pocket and pulled out a small slip of paper. Oh yeah, also the thing of like the anime series love doing this belly dancer adjacent design, but also like they didn't have to make her a belly dancer. They just chose to. Anime's always doing some shit. Zero's voice keeps coming back for a while. Keep that cup nearby. Okay. The rest of them reached into their own pockets and pulled out similar slips of paper. Junpei followed suit and dug into the pocket of his pants. He felt the telltale crumple of paper, slightly damp from his earlier ordeal. Hey, I got one too. Then it would seem Zero has seen fit to grace us each with a letter. Ace looks rough too. Ace doesn't look nearly as rough as Lotus. Lotus looked busted. Would you mind terribly reading it to us, young man? His request had been delivered to Junpei, who, after a short moment of surprise, did as he'd been asked. Also in the remake, everyone says nonary, which annoys me, but apparently it's the actual pronunciation, despite nonagon being pronounced nonagon and not nonagon. I hate English. English is stupid. English is stupid. That's it. That's the whole sentence. Why is it nonary instead of nonary? Okay. I'm gonna keep saying nonary game. Just out of spite. I don't know. English is very dumb. I can say that very confidently. I can say that very confidently because I took a class in Old English once. So I know why it's dumb. Unless dictionary.com lied to me, which is a possibility. It is a possibility. It's also totally possible that it's nonary in specifically England or specifically Australia or specifically Canada. Sometimes shit is like that. Or specifically, I don't know, 1/4 of Texas. English is funny. On this ship, you will find a handful of doors emblazoned with numbers. We will call them the numbered doors. Real creative, Zero. The doors in front of you are a pair of the same. The key to opening these numbered doors are the numbered bracelets that each of you possess. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Only those who have opened the door may pass through. I remember this section very, very clearly because I know what's about to happen. There are, however, limits. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. All those who enter must leave, and all who enter must contribute. This is like shit I would get as like an extra credit question on a math test in middle school, and I'd be like, ooh, this is fun. Bracelet, Junpei figured, had to mean the bulky thing on his wrist. Good job, Junpei, you know what a bracelet is. I'm gonna be doing this the entire stream, aren't I? He glanced around. It looked like everyone else had one as well, and had come to much the same conclusion. Looks like there's an ad break coming up soon. I'm gonna... Actually, yeah, I will be right back. I will break for like 5-ish minutes, go get some colder water because my water has significantly gotten warmer since I've started streaming. So I will be back with that. I will see you in 5-ish minutes, probably after the ad break. Nobody fill up the chat with water while I'm gone. Stay cool, stay frosty. Hell yeah. Oh my god, did a window crack open in chat and let a bunch of water in? Damn. I was really hoping we wouldn't have to mop up the floor of the chat. Anyway. It's so fucking hot, man. Hate when that happens. It sucks. Fine, I have a towel. I actually, funny story, like yesterday or the day before, I think it was the day before, I like spilled like an entire water bottle on the floor. And we do not have a mop currently. We used to have a mop, but I think we like it got old and we tossed it out and we just like haven't gotten around to buying a new mop. So I had to like with towels just like sop up a bunch of water. I felt like Cinderella. It was a very funny experience. The purpose of the game is simple. Leave this ship alive. Well, that's very easy. We just don't kill the ship. It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that carries a 9. Junpei had reached the end of the letter. There was a long moment of silence, and then the speaker crackled to life once more. There is one last thing I must tell you. I switched which cup I was using. As you have no doubt surmised, this ship has begun to sink. On April 14th, 1912, the famous ocean liner Titanic crashed into an iceberg. After remaining afloat for 2 hours and 40 minutes, it sank beneath the waters of the North Atlantic. I will give you more time. 9 hours. Hey, isn't that the name of the game or something? Iceberg. That is the time you will be given to make your escape. Also, if you know anybody who likes the Titanic even remotely, the info dump goes on longer than that. The voice finished and the speaker went silent. The sound of a bell tolling echoed throughout the hall. It came from the dance hall adjacent to the stairwell. It took those assembled on the stairs mere moments to trace the sound to an antique clock embedded in the wall. 7, 8, 9. The sound of the 9th bell faded away. The 10th never came. That meant the time was 9 o'clock. Oh, so I guess it's not 5 o'clock somewhere. Most likely 9 o'clock in the evening. When Junpei had peered out the window of his cell, he'd seen nothing but blackness. It had to be nighttime. I watched Titanic for the first time recently and was like, those are the stairs from Zero Escape. Hate that the number 9 is funny to me now. Real. If that was the case, then they would need to escape by 6 a.m. the following day. Now it is time. Let our game begin. I wish you all the best of luck. The speaker went silent and did not speak again. I don't think speakers can speak. I think they're just playing audio. Silver yelled at the speaker with language coarse enough to embarrass a sailor, but the rest of Junpei's companions were silent, deep in thought. This is what I'm talking about. I love the prose. Junpei too was consumed by his thoughts. Junpei too was consumed by his thoughts. There was a great deal he didn't understand. Who was Zero? What was the nonary game? Why had he chosen to make them part of it? Was he a criminal who took delight in playing with his victims? Or did he have some other purpose? I will say, even though I do know who Zero is, I don't know what Zero's motivation is at all. I don't have any idea. And why had Junpei been chosen as part of this insane game? Why had any of them been chosen? One question was foremost on his mind. Akane. They hadn't seen one another since elementary school. I keep trying to press spacebar to advance dialogue. Why had she appeared now? Coincidence? No, that seemed impossible. There had to be a reason. He didn't know what it might be, but there had to be a reason. Very well. The lion's voice seemed oddly loud in the silence. Standing around here won't do us any good. Best we get moving, don't you think? No, I think it's just a coincidence. Get moving. I think it's just a coincidence. I don't think anything happened for a reason. Are you planning to open the numbered doors? Hey, wait. Don't tell me you're actually going to do what this Zero says. No, that's not what I mean. The lion shook his head, mildly annoyed. I'm saying let's find another way. After all, we haven't really examined this place yet. What? God, she looks so funny front-facing. They put so much love and care into rendering her boobs, but her face, absolutely none. Their separate investigations finished, all 9 people returned to where they'd left one another. The result of all their work was nothing. They were completely sealed in. Their hard work had not gone completely to waste, however. They had learned a number of things as they scoured the parts of the ship they could reach. It seemed that they were confined to decks A through C. People in a visual novel being smart and looking for a way out on their own. I know! Crazy. Good for them! C deck was as far down as they would be able to go, however. The reason being that D deck was completely submerged. Strangely, however, the water had risen no higher than D deck. The flow seemed to have been stopped somehow, as evidenced by the surface of the water on D deck, which was smooth as glass. The prince knelt down and gently drew his hand across it. Okay, Junpei. Perhaps this Zero fellow has used some sort of remote control to seal a watertight door lower down. He said that our time limit was 9 hours. In other words, this water won't rise for 9 hours. Or it rises every 3 hours. 1 level each. If Zero feels like being like a malicious son of a bitch. You're saying we won't sink till then? Well, that may be a little too optimistic. Do you know about the Twitter poll? The I'm always on your side Twitter poll or the baguette one? Was the baguette one a Twitter poll or was it just a tweet? The toaster thing. I know about the toaster thing. Oh no, wait, that's VLR, isn't it? That's about Sigma. Ignore me. The I'm always on your side one? The is Snake a gay? Yes, I'm aware. Yes. I'm always on your side. No, yeah, I'm well aware of Uchikoshi's many Twitter escapades. Fear not. I've heard. No point to wishful thinking. There were 3 metal doors on C deck. A single door stood off to the side with 2 more on the wall facing facing the central staircase. Sorry, just a moment. I'm going to mess with my chat really quick because I'm realizing the what is the word that I'm looking for? People's names are getting cut off in part because the badges are showing. Okay, hopefully that should cut off people's badges a little bit less now, or not badges, people's names a little bit less, because Like specifically, Maddie, your username was cut to just like the letter N. So hopefully it's a little bit more visible now. At least somewhat. I do want it to remain like somewhat legible. My like chat bot is just a little bit picky. And great, now your name is neutral. There were 3 metal doors on C deck. A single door stood off to the side with 2 more on the wall facing the central staircase. That works. At least some semblance of who's talking. None of them had numbers or verification devices. Actually, let me, while I have people here to look at it, let me shrink down, really quickly. I'm gonna try shrinking down my, like, chat size, just because it's, like, fairly large. Maybe if I put everybody's to, like, 60? I'll sign off all of my messages like the end of an email so people know who it is. Maybe 60 will be a better size and still legible. Well, still not great. Still not great. The only other thing I could see is like switching off the pronouns to have a bit more space, but then I'm switching off the pronouns. Good idea. Regards, Roof. Roof, yours is visible. No matter how much they pushed and shoved, the doors refused to move. The mountain and the lion threw themselves against them a few times, but to no avail. The door in the back had a keyhole. Just above it was a strange mark in the shape of a circle surrounding a dot. There were 2 other doors on C deck as well, but it was clear that they were elevators, as each had a button next to it with an upside-down triangle. He tried pushing the button. No response. Apparently, there was no power running to the elevators. To the left of the elevator doors was a card reader. The card reader also had a strange mark on it. That's a planetary symbol, right? It looked like a lowercase h with a dash drawn across the upper stem of the H. Junpei stared at it for a while.
This is the symbol of Saturn.
Thank you, Akane.
It's an astrological symbol.
Then the mark on the other door.
I think that was a sun symbol.
They had seen the same symbols on A deck. There was a door on either side of the stairs. The one on the left had a keyhole with a similar symbol engraved on it.
This is an Earth symbol. The horizontal line symbolizes the equator and the vertical one represents the prime meridian.
Junpei looked up at the ceiling. There was a great circle cut in it, perhaps for a skylight or a glass dome, but it had been filled with a gargantuan metal plate. The metal looked very solid. Anything short of an explosive charge was unlikely to damage it. There were several windows along both sides of the ship, or at least there had been. Oh, they too were covered with metal plates. In other words, we're trapped. All the exits go nowhere. Zero did say that. Junpei was not happy. The girl with pink hair spoke up.
Well, I'm sure they go somewhere. We just can't open them.
Then the mountain spoke. You don't know that. For all we know, they just open into walls or take us in circles. The prince did not agree. No, I'm sure they go somewhere. Otherwise, what point would there be? And we can open them. Well, 2 of them, at least. Then the mountain spoke feels like a line from the Bible, literally. Like, what in the, like, fables and folktales bullshit? You mean the numbered doors? Same thing with the mountain and the lion threw themselves against the door or whatever. All eyes turned towards the doors with numbers on them. The atmosphere in the room grew tense. Hey, wait a minute. I think I said this earlier, but I don't think we should do that. The dancer moved in front of the doors as if to block them. We'd have to be crazy to open these doors. If we do that, we're doing exactly what Zero wants us to do. Suddenly, everyone began to speak at once. I agree.
I don't. That's a terrible idea.
We should keep going. We should stay here. We don't have any other way to open any of these doors.
We should just wait. Someone's bound to come find us.
We don't have time for that. In 8.5 hours, this ship is going to sink. My favorite lie part of Zero Escape is the stupid amount of times they throw their bodies against metal doors expecting anything to happen, literally. The clamor of voices made it next to impossible to determine who was saying what. It's like these guys don't know they're in a puzzle game or something. Their arguments grew more and more intense until people were shouting and screaming at one another. Junpei had remained silent, but at last he could take no more. Hey! Shut up! They fell silent and all eyes turned to Junpei. He felt each stare burning into him, but he refused to flinch. Before we try and decide where we're going to go, there's something else we ought to do.
What's that?
We need to exchange information. We don't know anything about each other. I want to know who you guys are. Who you are, where you came from, why you ended up here. Don't tell me you aren't curious, too. We need character introductions. They were silent. Some of them looked the other way or bit their lip or crossed their arms and stared at the ceiling. But one of them spoke up. It was Akane.
I agree. I think Jumpy is right.
Jumpy?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking about him. I just call him Jumpy. His name's Junpei.
She pointed towards Junpei.
We're childhood friends. We went to the same elementary school.
Wait, stop. Don't tell us stuff we didn't ask you about. Zero's probably watching us right now. Can't believe Akane just doxed us, literally. What are you gonna do if he's listening in?
Would that be bad?
Doxed. Akane Kurashiki's over party. Hell yeah, it would. We don't know how much that bastard knows about us. Maybe he just picked a bunch of random people to kidnap. His social security number is 555. If that is the case, then it'd be dangerous for us to let him know too much. If Zero knows who we are, he could go after our families. Maybe he'd tell us he had him to get us to do stuff, you know?
But we still need to know what our names are. It's going to be hard to talk to each other if we don't have names.
Alright, then why don't we have code names? To him, apparently, it seemed like the obvious solution.
Code names?
Yeah, we'll each pick something. Like, I'll be 7. 7? Why are you 7? It seemed a fair question. The mountain stuck out his left arm. Because his bracelet number says 7. Oh, I get it. He's 7 years old. Yeah, that's a good idea. He smirked. Alright, I'm gonna be Santa. Any of you chumps know Japanese? No? Well, san means 3, so I'll be Santa. Shit that they have to translate like that because localization. You know, like Santa Claus. Fits, don't you think? Then your bracelet number. Yeah, it's got a 3 on it. Good job, Grandpa. Just like the mountain had done, Silver thrust out his left hand. Sure enough, the face of his bracelet read 3. Very well, then. I'll go next, shall I? My bracelet number is 1. Given that, I think Ace seems appropriate. I'll be Lotus then. As I'm sure you all know, it has 8 petals. Which means, of course, that my bracelet number is 8. I also, like, I did know that lotuses had 8 petals, but I don't know how common that knowledge is. Because the bit is, a lotus is sacred in a lot of religions because it has 8 petals. And 8 is a significant number. Santa had the Ariana Grande sleeve going on in that pic. No, it's so, like, he bought that at Hot Topic. I would appreciate it if you would call me Snake. I love how they use the code names. It means that you don't need to memorize what number everyone has. Yeah, because I would forget that. Versus, I know everybody's code names already. My bracelet number is 2. Since Ace has chosen cards, then I choose dice. Snake eyes, clearly. Which is particularly relevant, given that I am blind. Also, Jesus, Snake is pale. Blind? Really? He'd kept his eyes closed during their entire ordeal, which had suggested something strange, but to hear it said so casually. It was something of a surprise. Everyone seemed a little nervous at the prince's proclamation, but no one seemed to know how to react to it. There was one person, however, who didn't seem to be surprised in the least. The girl with pink hair.
I want to be Clover. You know, like a
Floor leaf.
like a 4-leaf clover.
I think I'm getting tan, guys.
Good luck, right?
Looking almost bored, she held out her left hand. The face of her bracelet showed the number 4. They'd come around to Junpei. He held out his bracelet. Alright, my number's 5, so my code name is gonna be... Why have one? It's not like there's any point to it now. The dancer cut him off mid-sentence. I mean, we all know your name already. You're Junpei. Oh. They all nodded. Akane stepped forward nervously. This is so, the melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, the main character being named Kyon, and we never find out what his real name is. He's just like, yeah, I've had this shitty nickname since middle school, and it's just stuck. So I guess I'm Kyon now. So we just never find out what his real name is.
Then you should all call me by my name, too. Because, I mean, it doesn't seem...
It doesn't seem fair to Jumpy. You're thinking it's not cool for you to hide your name after you told us his. Akane fidgeted awkwardly. Junpei decided he had to do something. What's your bracelet number?
It's 6.
She hesitated for a moment, then held out her left hand. As she'd claimed, her bracelet, the bracelet's face showed a 6. Junpei looked at it for a moment and thought. Alright then, why don't we call you June? June. Yeah, you know, it's the 6th month of the year. So you're June.
Jumpy.
Akane kneaded her hands and looked up at Junpei, uncertain. He smiled back at her reassuringly. Are you good with that? She thought about it for a few more minutes, then seemed to come to a decision and gave Junpei a small nod. Their names decided, Junpei ran over them quickly in his head. 1 was Ace. 2 was Snake. 3 was Santa. I do question the decision to have a character named June and a character named Junpei. Does anybody know if her name is June in the Japanese, or is she, like, is it the English word June? My guess is that it is. I don't know about months in Japanese. I know in Korean, though, it's just like month 6, month 7, etc. So my guess is that she would also be June in, like, the English word. It was different in Japanese. Okay, that would make sense. Throw back to the first time I played Zero Escape and I went, wait, I thought Junpei was a girl because I got their names mixed up. 4 was Clover. Her Japanese name is Murasaki. Oh, because purple. She's also wearing purple. They could have gone with, well, she's wearing purple.
And 5 was Junpei's number. Akane was 6, and Junpei had given her the code name of June. 7 was 7. And 8 was Lotus. That meant that 8 of them, including Junpei, had revealed their bracelet numbers. But there was still one person left. He was the man with glasses and hair like a bird's nest. He hadn't said anything since they'd met on the stairs, and he didn't look like the sort of person who was inclined to conversation. His skin was pale, his breathing was heavy, and he was soaked with nervous sweat. Dork. His behavior seemed suspicious, or perhaps simply emotionally unstable. It was difficult to tell. Whatever the case, it seemed clear that he only had a fingertip's worth of a grip on his sanity. The girl with pink hair, Clover, walked up to him slowly. She put her hands on her hips and eyed him suspiciously. "What number are you?" He didn't answer. Actually..." His bloodshot eyes twitched from person to person, and his breath came out in hot pants. Like the JoJo character? "Hey, I'm talking to you." The man licked his dry lips with a shaking tongue and spoke with a voice like old paper. I really like this prose. It's good. It's really good. Oh, you know what game actually has really good prose that I want to check out soon? Draculeshti. It's a Dracula dating sim. Save Data Team just posted a playthrough of the demo of it, and the writing in it is really pretty, and I'm very interested in it. Speaking of Dracula-based games and vampire dating sims, I'm gonna be playing some Cabernet tomorrow. I am gonna reschedule from the time that I already said that I was going to play to probably earlier in the day. And probably also a shorter stream, just because my schedule got shifted around. But, hee-hoo, Cabernet, I'm gonna do a Nihilist run. Which makes me nervous, because I don't like making the mean choices, and specifically Cabernet, because some of them are really cruel. And I think it makes more sense for the message of the game to go with the humanity choices when you can. But I want to see what happens, though. We'll be checking that out tomorrow. Isn't it obvious? There are 9 people here. And you know who numbers 1 through 8 are. I'm the only one left. So you're 9? Yeah. He extended a trembling arm. The bracelet did indeed say 9. Clover looked at it contemptuously. What's your code name? Code name? What do you want us to call you? We all made up names. You should too. I don't need one. Why not? Because I'm not going to stay here with you. He took a shuddering breath and exhaled. Clover looked at him with something very like disgust. You got some sort of plan? I do. Yeah, what's that? You sure you want to know? Yeah? I kind of want to give Clover more of a Valley Girl like accent, just because I know she's like Yaru. It was like, I think that's some of the Junko influence coming in, but I kind of want to give her more of a Valley Girl accent, which is funny because considering accents. I'll wait until that comes up in the game though. All right. Let me show you. I'm going to do this. Ah! By the time they realized what he was doing, it was too late to stop him. The man's body moved like a snake's. In the blink of an eye, he had slid around behind her and wrapped his arm around her waist. What have you got there? A knife! No! Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? Silver, Santa, leapt forward like a snake's toward Clover and the 9th man. He was halfway there when... Stay back. Suddenly, the man's hand dove into his pocket.
Ninth man is secretly Snake. I've connected the dots. He came back out with a knife. A pocket knife. He held it to Clover's pale, quivering neck. If you get any closer, I'll cut her open. Santa skidded to a halt. He snarled at the scrawny man with the knife and gritted his teeth. Yes, that's right. The man's smile was neither friendly nor reassuring. Sweat poured down his neck, soaking through the collar of his shirt. Clover, are you all right? The prince, Snake's voice sounded oddly concerned.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Her voice shook, making her words even less convincing. What the hell are you trying to do? I told you. This is my plan. What are you gonna do to her, you sick son of a bitch? Don't worry. I'm not going to do anything to her. If she just does what I tell her to, I'll let her go. He started to move backward, slowly, keeping his grip on Clover. Keeping their distance, Junpei and the others followed. Eventually, the man reached the wall. He gave a start as his back touched it, then glanced around quickly and spoke. Verify.
Huh?
The left. Look on your left. Do you see the device on the wall? Place your hand on the scanner panel, the round part.
What if I don't?
The man's nostrils flared and he looked like he was about to choke. Are you an idiot? What do you think? I'd slit your throat right now. I'll kill you if I have to. All I need is your bracelet. Just do it! Do it now! He pressed the knife against Clover's neck, hard. Slowly, she stretched her left hand out towards the device. Her back was to it, and she had to feel around for a moment before she found the circular panel. It made a cold electronic noise, and on the display above her hand, an asterisk appeared. So that's how it works, Junpei thought to himself. By placing one's palm on what the ninth man had called a scanner panel, the user's bracelet number would be entered into the device. Oh god. Should you total the numbers on your numbered bracelets, and find that the digital root of that number is equal to the number of that door, the door will open. Junpei shifted his eyes to the door itself. 5. The number on it was 5. The ninth man seemed to know a little more about the device's operation than he should. How had he known exactly what to do? Good. Good, you're done. Next. His bloodshot eyes crept from person to person until finally. He stopped on the lion. Ace. You, right? You're the one with the number 1 bracelet, right? Yes, I am. So? And you're next. Just verify your number like this little brat did. What are you doing? Do it! Don't you care what happens to her? Okay, just calm down. Ace held up his hands, palms out. The ninth man jerked his chin towards the device. Slowly, cautiously, Ace moved towards the device. After what seemed like an agonizing eternity, he reached it. No, verify. Ace nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. The device beeped again, and a second asterisk appeared. Now the device had Clover and Ace's numbers. 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 equals 5. The same as the number written on the door. But it wouldn't open just yet. Only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. The door needed at least one more person. Who would that be? Get back!
His voice shook, but the knife he held to Clover's throat made his words a command. Ace took 2, then 3 steps back. No, farther! More than that. Go all the way back. Slowly, Ace did what he was told. The 9th man's lips curled into a cruel, twisted smile. That was when Junpei understood his plan. Clover is 4 and Ace is 1. Added to the 9th man's 9. 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. In other words. Thank God you were all so cooperative. Now I can get out of this nightmare. He pressed his own hand against the scanner panel. A 3rd asterisk appeared on the screen. He dropped his hand to the lever on the side of the device and pulled. Oh boy, I sure hope nothing bad happens. The door opened with a heavy metallic groan. He let go of Clover. Wait! Junpei leapt towards the 9th man, but he wasn't fast enough. Everything will be fine. The man shoved Clover. Ah! And hopped through the door. Okay, have a good one, guys. I'm going off ahead now. Well then, goodbye. He raised his hand and waved, a twisted smirk on his face. Then he was gone. The door ground shut with the dull clang of metal on metal. Clover! Are you all right? Snake ran to Clover's side as she lay on the floor. Yeah, I'm fine. She climbed unsteadily to her feet and once there, leaned heavily on Snake's shoulder for support. Junpei ran to the door. The others followed him. Several pairs of hands grabbed a hold of the handles and pulled. They grunted and strained, but... Shit. It won't budge. That was when Lotus, the dancer, spoke. Her voice was quiet. Do you hear something? Like, what? Like some sort of beeping. Junpei pressed his ear against the cold metal of the door. The others did the same. You're right. I can hear it too. What is it? Then they heard something else. It was the 9th man. Shit. Why isn't it stopping? God damn it. You lied. Oh my god. Hi, Trav. Thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Hi, folks. Trav, actually, hold on. Did it? Oh, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. At least I'm not sure if it did what I wanted it to do, but let me give you a shout out anyway, Trav. For folks who are unaware, as the 9th man, you know, gets closer and closer to mortal peril. Folks who were not here for the stream yesterday, or didn't catch the VOD, Trav is the person who made these wonderful new overlays. And they're very pretty, and I like them a lot. So shout out to Trav. Were you guys playing Final Fantasy XIV? Lied. We were doing Final Fantasy XIV, yes. Yeah, I don't know anything about 14, but I know you're like in the trenches right now with 14. This wasn't supposed to happen. This is wrong. I'm getting my ass kicked. Well, I wish you were very not getting your ass kicked as much. Hope 999 is going well. 999 is, I mean, it's about to stop going well. I'll tell you that much. Hey, do you guys hear that mysterious ticking noise? Wonder what that is. Working on it. I believe in you. But yeah,
Yeah, hello, folks who are perhaps new to the stream. I'm Julie, aka Twyfairy. Sometimes you will see me in Trav's Twitch chat. I stream a lot of stuff like mystery and horror visual novels, and otherwise, not characters. Yeah, character and story heavy video games. I'm doing a somewhat blind playthrough of Zero Escape. I know a couple of big spoilers, but I don't know how we get there or even what any of the endings are. And also this week, I am trying in an attempt to celebrate this brand new PNG tuber model that I'm using. I'm trying to stream once a day this week. Today is going to be Zero Escape. Tomorrow is going to be a little earlier in the day than I set on my schedule if you follow my socials. But I'm going to be playing Cabernet, which is a vampire visual novel set in the late 1800s in a fictional Eastern European town. Julie is also a great singer, mixer, and voice actor. Thank you, Rue. Let's hold off on the mixer, though. Let's hold off on mixer. I will claim being good at timing and tuning. I don't know about mixing yet. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on it. Speaking of mixing, though, let me talk about the rest of my schedule. Tuesday, I'm thinking of playing some Date Everything. Wednesdays, I play Yakuza 0 with some of my friends who are new to the series, and so we will be playing more Yakuza 0. Thursday, I have a brand new cover coming out. Also on Thursday, there is a Capcom Direct, and I am a Capcom creator, so I'm gonna do my part and represent those of us in the Clown Brigade by co-streaming the Capcom Direct. I do not believe we are getting any Ace Attorney news, but in solidarity, I will put a clown nose on. And then Friday, not on my channel, but I will be streaming Dual Destinies over on my close good friend Max's channel. We stream with Max and with Cinna, who are both very educated in the psychology field. And so we get to take psychic damage together when Athena says things like, how about a quick therapy session in the middle of court? And then on Saturday, I'm going to be back to The Great Ace Attorney, which is a very, very exciting stream that I am gathering a very large stream team for. And I'm also trying to focus on like analysis of The Great Ace Attorney. We're going to do some bonus streams that I'm calling Book Club. And some of them will have recommended reading and discussion. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Anyway, sure hope that beeping isn't important. This is wrong. His voice shook with fear. Safe on the outside, they stepped back from the door and looked at one another. What is happening in there? Oh, open the door. Please. I'm begging you. Help me. Please get me out of here. Get me out of here. Junpei grabbed hold of the device. He slammed his hand on the scanner panel. Nothing happened. Why didn't it register him? He looked at the display where the asterisk had shown up. It said, engaged. Oh my god. Oh my god, there's no time left. Listen, I was lied to. He lied to me. He put me in here. It was him. He killed me. It was him. The explosion rocked the room. Instinctively, they ducked, then stood up slowly when they realized there was no danger. No one spoke. Silence filled the room. In that silence, the electronic tone that echoed across the room sounded as loud as a gunshot. All eyes turned towards it. It had come from the device mounted next to the door. The display changed from engaged to vacant. Let's see if we can open it. 7, the mountain, swallowed hard. Junpei nodded and placed his hand on the scanner panel. A red asterisk appeared on the LCD panel. The device had registered Junpei's bracelet number, 5. His was not enough, however. At least 2 more people were needed. Junpei asked, which pair? Ace and Lotus works, that adds up to 9. Oh, all of these add up to 9, actually. We can choose. I don't know how much it matters. I want to go with Ace and Lotus. Ace, Lotus, you think you could give me a hand here? The pun was a little too on the nose, but the mood was still grim. Both Ace and Lotus lifted their left hands silently. He verified, and she followed suit. 5 plus 1 plus 8 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. They'd fulfilled the conditions. If they were to pull the lever on the side. Are you guys ready? I'm gonna open it. Junpei grabbed the lever and looked back over his shoulder. They stiffened and nodded. Junpei nodded back and set his mouth in a grim line. Then he slowly lowered the lever. There was a metallic groan and the door slid open. A breath of air drifted out of it, carrying a stench that nearly made them gag. Junpei grimaced and put a hand over his mouth. Oh my god. Good god. Lotus and Ace shuddered. 7 grunted. Oh, that's pretty bad. Even Santa's voice shook. He blew up. It appeared that Santa was right. The hallway on the other side of the door was splattered with chunks of torn flesh and dark red blood. The shriek echoed across the room. It had come from June. Then her strength left her and she dropped. As Junpei turned to catch her, the door groaned shut. Ugh. Even knowing it was coming, gross, man. He exploded. She crumpled to the floor. June, you okay? Junpei dropped to his knees and put his arm around her shoulders. Anime moments. That was when he noticed. Her whole body was feverish. She was radiating intense heat. What the hell? Where'd this fever come from? June didn't answer. Her face looked like wax and her whole body began to shake. All right, let's just rest for a minute, okay? You think you can walk? She nodded weakly. Junpei lifted June to her feet and guided her to a nearby chair. Here we go. As gently as he could, he sat her down in it. How are you feeling? Are you all right? She nodded, and as she did, a single huge tear rolled down the side of her face. Why did this happen? Her voice cracked, broken by misery and grief and choked by sobs. Why did this happen? Junpei spun around. Do any of you know what the fuck is going on here? Who's Zero? What's this nonnery game? Come on, anybody? Anything. What the hell is going on? What are we doing here? No one spoke. Ace, Snake, Santa, Clover, Seven, and Lotus. They simply stood there, 7 pairs of downcast eyes and 7 grim lines for mouths. June's body shook with silent sobs. They slowed as the minutes ticked by, and eventually they stopped. Then suddenly, in the cold, heavy silence that had enveloped them like a thick fog, a bell began to ring. The clock in the central hall. 7, 8, 9, 10 times. And then on the 10th ring, it stopped The sound of the bell faded away into silence. It's 10 o'clock then. Ace said what each one of them had been thinking. That means it's been an hour since Zero's little announcement. Seven's deep voice echoed across the room. Fuck! I've had enough of this crap. Santa leapt to his feet, his fists clenched. How long are we gonna pussyfoot around like this? We've only got 8 hours until this time limit Zero was going on about is up. Let's get going already. Go! Go! Santa's outburst fell on deaf ears. No one seemed to agree with him. They stared back at him, their eyes blank and their faces tired. Finally, Lotus spoke. No, I refuse. I'm not going to end up like him. Him? You mean the ninth man? Of course. Who else? In his mind's eye, Junpei saw the corpse again. The dark, reddish-black pool of blood. The scattered pieces of flesh. Organs strewn across the floor like the blossoming of a grotesque flower. The explosion that had torn through his body had been powerful. The ninth man's neck had been twisted at an odd angle. Junpei suspected the detonation had thrown him against the wall. Half of his face was crushed, and the other half was covered in blood. Most of his abdomen had been emptied, either by the explosion or by gravity. He had landed on his back, and stark white ribs jutted up out of his chest, like the legs of some sort of macabre crab. Junpei felt something flip in his stomach. I think he just screwed up. Eyebrows went up, and Santa continued. He probably set off some sort of trap, and that killed him. I'm not gonna screw up like that. I'm getting out of here alive. Whatever Snake was laughing at, Santa did not find particularly humorous. What's so goddamn funny? Oh, my apologies. You were just so very confident. I couldn't help myself. What the fuck? I think you've mistaken the situation. Huh? The ninth man's death. It had nothing to do with the trap, or at least not the sort of trap you imagine it did. Then, he broke one of Zero's rules. That was why he died. Quite simple if you think about it. You still don't... All right. How about you take a moment and think back to what Zero said? Specifically, what did he say about the number of people? He said only 3 to 5 people can pass through one numbered door. Right? And after that? You've forgotten the relevant part? What did Zero say? Santa furrowed his brow in thought. Junpei thought back. Zero said, everyone who verified had to go through. All those who enter must leave, and all those who enter must contribute. Right? I think it was something like that. Whatever it was, it means that groups of less than 3 or more than 5 can't go. Through. That is correct. A gold star for you, Junpei. Snake inclined his head towards Junpei. The ninth man, however, broke that rule. He tried to pass through a numbered door by himself. That was why he was executed. Then Zero's watching us from somewhere, making sure we don't break any rules. Oh, I'm not so sure of that. Why not? Because this execution system is entirely automatic. You didn't notice? There's no need for him to monitor us. What do you mean? Snake looked at Seven with what could only be described as pity and sighed. Very well. I see it must be me who tells you. I've waited long enough, I suppose. He's such a bitch. I like Snake, though. I like him. I also, am
I understand people are not thinking clearly because a guy just exploded and everybody just saw his absolutely brutal corpse. And they're processing after that, except Snake. So Snake can be level-headed about it. Actually, I didn't even realize that. Snake didn't see the corpse. He did have to smell it, though. But I understand everybody's not thinking rationally. That said, it's like pretty obvious that the execution system is automated. They don't need to be watched if, like they put their hands upon the fucking the reader thing. I had hoped Zero might spare me the trouble, but that seems increasingly unlikely. You couldn't see them, of course, but perhaps Snake sensed the confused eyes upon him. Snake is savage in the best way, yeah, Christ. When Ace spoke, he gave words to everyone else's thoughts. You know something. Well, I know a great many things, but yes. What is it you know? Here. Snake removed a card from the pocket of his jacket. With a flourish, he presented it to Ace, who took a close look at it and spoke. Come on now, what's the point of giving me this? Give me that. Santa snatched the card from Ace, but his expression of disgust quickly turned to one of confusion. Huh? The hell is this? Seven tugged it out of Santa's hands. I see. The card went from Seven to Lotus, from Lotus to June, and finally to Junpei. He looked at it and understood. This is Braille. Braille, the written language of the blind. The card was covered with small embossed bumps. Junpei could recognize it, but he certainly couldn't read it. Sorry, guys, I can't read this. Junpei handed the card back to Snake, who nodded at him with a small smirk. Okay, that was fun. What's so important about that card? I found it in my pocket. I can only assume it is a message from Zero. From Zero? A message? What does it say? Suddenly, everyone was crowding around Snake, desperate to hear what the message said. Santa especially looked as if he were about to grab hold of Snake and shake the answers from him. Snake raised his hand. Actually, Braille is not a language, it's a coding system for English. Yeah, I was gonna say, calling it written is also not necessarily, correct, because the bumps have to be raised. You can't just write it. Calm down now. No need to panic. You don't need to force me, I'll read it. Junpei swallowed hard and waited for him to start. He was not the only one. Presently, Snake began to read, his voice calm. His fingers glided over the tiny bumps as he spoke. Yeah, there we go. Bracelet number 2. Since you are not blessed with sight, I shall bless you, and only you, with information. I shall tell you of the function of the red, of the dead, and of the bracelet. The red is the recognition device. It will verify your number. Beside every numbered door, you will find a red. The dead is the deactivation device. It does exactly what it says. Once you have passed through the numbered door, you must use the dead to stop the detonator in your bracelet. But perhaps you are wondering, what does this detonator detonate? I'm afraid this may be something of a surprise. I have placed a small bomb inside of you, and the people whom you are about to meet. You swallowed it while you were unconscious. I have no doubt that by the time you read this note, the bomb will have passed your stomach and found its way to your small intestine. In other words, you will be able to regurgitate it. Unable to regurgitate it, fuck. I suggest you do not try. As I mentioned before, the bracelet on your left hand contains a detonator. Think of it as a remote fuse or timer for the bomb in your body. There is only one condition which will cause it to detonate. That condition is that you enter a numbered door.
Once you have done so, the timer will activate, no matter who you may be. You will have 81 seconds. Hi, Natalie, welcome. If, after that time, the detonator has not been deactivated, it will send a signal to the bomb in your body, instructing it to explode. In order to deactivate the detonator, every person who verified their number at the red must also verify their numbers at the dead. Once all numbers have been verified by the dead, you need only pull the lever at its side, and the countdown will cease. Anyone who does not verify their number at the red will find themselves unable to verify their number at the dead. That is to say, if you should pass through a numbered door without first verifying your number at the red in 81 seconds, you will be dead. You must also keep in mind that the numbered doors will close automatically after 9 seconds have passed. So long as the door is open, the dead will not function. You would do well to remember this. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1, you escape from this ship. 2, your heart rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or detects that the wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. So if we pull a nasty trick with the defibrillator, we're good. There is no other way to remove your bracelet. If you attempt to force it off or disable the detonator, the bomb within you will immediately explode. This is all the information which I can impart to you. How you choose to use it is for you to decide. If used wisely, you can eliminate those who might be a danger to you. For a time, oh, I switched windows on accident. For a time, you would be able to control your fate. I wish you the best of luck. Snake finished reading and carefully returned the card to his pocket. The message had been lengthy, but its meaning was clear. Only those who verified their numbers at the red could pass through the numbered doors. Teams could not increase or decrease their numbers. The reds, deads, and bracelets enforced the rules. They were judge, jury, and executioner. In defiance of Zero's suggestions, both Santa and Seven put fingers down their throats and began to gag. The rest stiffened. Some touched their stomachs, some simply stared at their bracelets. Junpei gingerly touched his stomach. There was a bomb inside his body. The thought of it made him queasy. Gotta head out, but excited to catch the VOD. Hopefully I'll be able to hang out during the next stream too. Yay! Exciting! We'll be back with Zero Escape next Sunday, probably. Or at least I'll vaguely be weekly Zero Escape streams. Thank you for stopping by. His stomach felt oddly hollow, and his legs were weak. Why had Zero designed such a ludicrous game? Junpei looked over at the others. Bye, have a good night. All right, I'm going to ask one more time. The one situation IBS is a superpower. Do any of you know anything about Zero? They were all silent, each person waiting to hear what the others would say. Finally, Santa spoke. Actually, I saw him. I saw Zero when I got grabbed. I didn't see his face, though. Son of a bitch was wearing some kind of gas mask. What the hell? Come on, guys, give me something. You know, like, surprise or something. Instead, it was Santa who looked surprised. There was a moment of silence, and then everyone spoke at once. Yeah, I saw him too. Me too. He was wearing a gas mask. As stories were sorted out, the truth became clear. All of their stories were the same. They had been abducted at home at midnight. The person claiming to be Zero had worn a mask. There had been white smoke, and then each person had passed out. When they awoke, they had found themselves on D-deck, in a room with a 3-level bunk bed.
Only 7 stories seem to lack the detail of the others.
Oh. Me? Yeah, well, mine was just like the rest of yours.
That was all he had said. It had occurred to Junpei at the time that it sounded somewhat strange, but he didn't press the issue. He hadn't done so because there was something that struck him as even stranger. That was the mystery of the relationship between Snake and Clover. For some reason, they had been abducted from the same room and woken up in the same room. Junpei looked at them thoughtfully. So what's the deal with the two of you, anyway? It was Clover that answered. Clearly, she felt she had nothing to hide.
We're siblings.
Siblings?
Yes? Snake is my older brother, obviously. That means I'm his little sister. Not really so hard to understand.
Junpei was taken aback. The others seemed just as surprised. She is correct, of course. He laid his hand on Clover's shoulder. Are you surprised?
Well, yeah, but...
Why? There are other people here with connections to one another. Those two, for instance? Snake pointed at Junpei and June.
Oh, you mean between Jumpy and me?
Ah, yes. You did say you were childhood friends, didn't you? You went to school together?
Yeah.
June glanced at Junpei, uncomfortable with the sudden attention. Junpei felt somewhat nervous as well and tried to scratch his head as casually as possible. Hey, you think maybe we could just figure out who this Zero is? Wait, no. Figure out who Zero is this way? There we go.
Yeah, you're right. You connect the dots between the victims and that leads you to the perp. Textbook. Stuff.
Junpei, June, does any of this ring a bell? Ring a bell.
Ring a bell?
They looked at one another. And like it was staged, they both tilted their neck at the same time. Well, perhaps he went to school with the son of a multimillionaire.
A millionaire?
Son? Well, someone bought this boat and set up all of this. Whoever Zero is, they must be incredibly rich.
Well, we can't be sure of that. To me, this seems as though it's the work of an organization, not an individual. Zero is most likely simply the representative of a larger group. What sort of organization? Could be a number of things. An army, perhaps, or a research group. Perhaps this is all some psychological experiment.
If it is, it's a pretty fucked up experiment. I mean, come on. That guy's dead. The word dead hung in the air, heavy and ominous. The room went quiet again. I don't know who the hell this Zero asshole is, but I know for sure he's got to be pretty fucked up in the head to do all of this. If this was all one guy, then he's got some serious issues. Even with the specter of death hanging over them, their discussions continued for some time. In the end, however, they learned nothing. By the time they finished, 1.5 of their 9 hours were long gone. All they had to show for it was impatience. Man, look, we've only got 7.5 hours left, okay? You sure you really... Oh god. You really sure you want to just sit around? No one was willing to argue this time.
Very well, then. There's only one way for us to proceed. They're not gonna be fun running around knowing we gotta jump when Zero says jump.
Well, it's stupid to just sit around here doing nothing.
Thanks to Snake's card, at least we have some idea of how this all works. Correct. And so long as we follow the rules, we will most likely be all right.
But what?
Who's going to go in which door?
June looked towards the numbered doors. Oh yeah, that's right. We can't have any more than 5 people in one door. All 8 of us can't go in the same door. Then it would seem we will have to split up. Wait. Lotus looked terrified. I'm telling you now, there is no way in hell that I'm going into door 5. Come on now, don't be selfish. Call me whatever the hell you want. I'm not going in there. If I'm going to have to walk through all that blood, then I'd rather stay here. We were doing so well. Ace shook his head sadly. Sorry, but I ain't going in there either. Someone else can go in door number 5. Oh, Santa, not you too. Hey man, I just bought these shoes. If you think I'm getting some creepy dude's blood all over them, you got another think coming. That was the last straw.
What the hell, man? Weren't you the one who kept saying we should get going?
Not the shoes, bro. You might die.
Yeah?
So?
Doesn't mean I want to go into door 5.
Oh, God.
There was an awkward silence. Finally, Seven spoke.
Fine. I'll go into door 5. I can't go in there alone, though. Anyone else willing to come with me?
There was another long silence. This time Snake was the one to break it. I'll go.
Oh, what?
Don't worry, you'll be fine. We may part now, but I'm certain we'll meet again later.
How do you know that?
Because I do.
That's not an answer. If you're going, I'm going too. I'm going to go into door number 5.
What am I going to do with you? Sneakerhead Santa.
There's nothing you have to do.
Ace stepped forward.
If I join you, the problem is solved, correct? 7 is 7, and Snake is 2. And then if you add Clover's 4 and my 1, the digital root will be 5.
Yep. The maths.
Oh, it works perfectly. The 4 of us can go into door 5.
Wait. What about the other 4? What's their digital root gonna be?
Junpei did a quick mental calculation. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei remained. Their bracelet numbers were 8, 3, 6, and 5. What would their digital root be? 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 plus 6 is 17, plus 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 4. He repeated what he determined. It's 4. Add up our 4 bracelet numbers and the digital root is 4.
Then we can go into door 4.
Yeah. Huh, that worked out well. Junpei ran over the team assignments in his head one more time. 4 people would go into door 5. 7, Snake, Clover, and Ace. 4 people would go into door 4. Lotus, Santa, June, and Junpei. Junpei had to ask himself if the teams were what he really wanted. Beyond door 5 was what remained of the 9th man. He never wanted to see that thing again. But something in him said it would be unwise not to examine the corpse even a little closer. Of course, if he went through door 5, he wouldn't be going with Lotus and Santa. True, it would be possible for him to bring June with him through door 5, but that would mean she would have to see the horrific carnage that waited there. Junpei didn't want that. Junpei was torn. Should he stay silent and go through door 4? Or should he stop them all and insist on door 5? As he turned his options over and over in his mind, Ace spoke up.
All right, then. It seems we've reached a conclusion. Shall we go?
He began to walk towards door 5. Clover and Snake followed, with Seven a short distance behind. Junpei, which door do you want to go through? I want to investigate the body. I'm going to be so real. I want to investigate the body. Hey, wait. Junpei's cry echoed across the room. The four people walking towards the door stopped and turned back towards him. I want to go through door 5 too. The words were scarcely out of his mouth when June spoke up.
What? What are you saying, Jumpy? If you're going through that door, then I'm going with you.
He turned around to look at her. No, you can't. I can't take you with me.
Why?
Well, you know what's in there, don't you? Are you sure you want to see that? June opened her mouth as if to say something, but instead closed it again and looked at the floor. Junpei felt an ache in his chest at her clear distress, but the choice was not his to make. There was nothing else he could do. Junpei turned away from June, doing his best to silence his turbulent emotions. Please, let me go into door 5. Seven scratched his head and looked at the young man. Man, now we're right back where we started, you know that? Junpei's bracelet number is 5, right? If we're going to add Junpei, then we must subtract 5 from the rest of us. Snake turned to Ace. Ace, please take good care of Clover. Oh, all right. That's fine.
Don't go away.
You need to listen to me, Clover. Go to door 4 with the others.
No.
Don't be so selfish. Snake's tone was harsh. Tears welled up in Clover's eyes. She bit her lip and did her best to fight them off. Snake's expression softened, and he put his arms around Clover. He held her close and whispered into her ear. You'll be fine. Just relax. It looked as though he whispered 2 or 3 more words, but whatever they were, Junpei didn't hear them. He couldn't help but wonder what the other man had said. Snake pulled back from his sister, his eyes kind and inquiring.
Okay, I understand.
Her voice was barely audible from where Junpei stood. Before long, new teams were assembled. Those going to door 5, 7, Snake, and Junpei. Those going to door 4, Lotus, Santa, June, Ace, and Clover. Seven, Snake, and Junpei scanned their number bracelets in quick succession. The screen of the red showed 3 asterisks. All right then, let's go. Junpei glanced around one last time, his hand resting on the lever of the red.
Okay. Please be careful.
Concern was written plainly across her face. Junpei looked her in the eye and gave what he hoped was a reassuring nod. He pulled the lever. With the sharp clack of a lock releasing, the door swung open. Ahead of them, in the small hallway, were the pitiful remains of the 9th man. For a moment, Junpei froze. Try as he might, his eyes would not leave the corpse, and his feet would not leave the floor. 7, too, seemed paralyzed. Snake, on the other hand, seemed unconcerned. He walked calmly down the bloody hallway and only stopped when he realized his companions were not following. Do you intend to kill me? I assume you haven't forgotten the door only remains open for 9 seconds, have you? He hadn't even bothered to turn around. His head was, at most, slightly cocked towards one shoulder. Junpei and Seven looked at one another, nodded, and threw themselves through the door. As they did, a cold tone sounded from the left wrists of all 3 men. Seven and Junpei looked down at their bracelets. On both of them, and on Snake's, a red skull had flickered to life. The detonator had begun its countdown. They had scarcely processed this information when... With a metallic slam, the numbered door behind them swung shut. Unless they could find the device that would deactivate the detonators on their wrists, they would not be leaving the hallway.
Hey, where's the dead?
The fear and urgency in Seven's face reflected what all three of them felt. Junpei spun around, searching desperately for the dead. He found it easily enough. It was on the wall, next to the closed door labeled 5. Found it. Right here. As he yelled, he struck the scanner with his hand. The other two scrambled to follow suit. As soon as they finished, Snake threw the lever down. Well, it looks like it stopped. As he spoke, Junpei wiped the sweat from his forehead with a trembling hand.
Goddamn thing's gonna give me a heart attack.
A muscle stood out in Seven's neck, and the corners of his mouth were twitching.
Jumpy, are you all right?
It is so stressful.
Are you guys okay?
They could hear anxious voices, muffled but distinct, from the other side of the door. Yeah, we're fine. The detonators have been deactivated. They heard relieved sighs, and even through the door could feel the three men could feel the tension disperse.
All right, we're moving on. Be careful, okay?
Okay. Sure thing. They heard footsteps moving away, and before long they were alone again. Junpei looked around. The hallway hit a dead end 20 or 30 feet from where they stood. A thick iron wall blocked their way. Try as they might to force it, the wall refused to move. To the left, however, was a wooden door that looked positively inviting by comparison. In the middle of it was a plaque that read, First Class.
First class cabin, huh?
This too is the Great Ace Attorney. Well, it seems like it. Let's have a look then, shall we? Are we just not gonna... the dead body? But the dead body. Without hesitation, Snake opened the door and stepped inside. Seven followed closely behind him. Junpei moved to follow them as well, but he stopped just short of the threshold and looked back, not knowing why. Lying in the small hallway was a man's body, or at least what was left of it. Oh, that's horrifying music. That's so scary. He tried hard to avoid looking at the grisly scene, but it just wouldn't leave. His mind. What had once been a man's internal organs now looked like so much vomit. As though something had chewed up and spit out the better part of his torso. It was hideous, but worse still, it was cruel. It was hard to believe the thing on the floor had once been human. The black pool of thick blood. The lumps of glistening flesh spread across the floor. The awkward, twisted tangle of shredded intestines. The head wrenched to some grotesque, unnatural position. Ah! The man's glasses lay next to his head. The lenses were cracked, and the frame bent and distorted. Oh, the music keeps getting scarier. And next to the glasses lay a bracelet, the number 9 still displayed on its face. Lastly, let us discuss how to remove the bracelets. There are only 2 ways to do so. 1, you escape from this ship. 2, your heart's rate reaches 0. In other words, once the bracelet is taken outside the confines of the ship, or detects that its wearer's heartbeat has fallen to 0, it will shut down automatically. Who needs gory art when you have this narration? Yeah, this is good narration. Especially, I find that like I struggle to write horror because when I read horror, it doesn't register as very scary to me. This is good though. Like this is gross. I also find myself more horrified by him banging on the wall, like asking for us to open the door than the explosion. Suddenly, Junpei felt his stomach convulse, and a knot of muscle gripped his throat. He clapped his hands over his mouth and ran to the first-class cabin. God, that music was horrifying, too. I feel like Zero Escape is not usually called a horror game, but that section alone, yeesh. The atmosphere changed immediately. The room was gorgeous, and despite the apparent age of the ship, none the worse for wear. He looked around. Seven and Snake were nowhere to be seen. There were 2 doors on the right side of the room. He opened the one on his right, and went through. On the other side of the door was a short hallway. He jogged down the hallway, opened the door at the other end, and peeked through. It definitely has its horror moments. Yeah, that was like a really big one, I feel. I know this room. There they were, to his right, busy examining something. He stepped through the door and walked towards them. So, I actually am thinking about calling it here. Because I'm big sleepy. I'm big sleepy. The EPs are hitting me. And I did say that I was going to only stream like a little bit today. And then I still streamed for 3.5 hours. So I think I'm going to call it there. There's not really I can save the state at least. But I think that's going to be a good place to stop because there's not really a good place to stop. And based on what I remember from what has to be seen in this room, there isn't going to be a good stopping point in there either. So I'm going to call it here. What else is coming up? Once again, we're celebrating me switching over to this model this week. So tomorrow I'm going to be streaming some Cabernet. Tuesday I might be doing some Date Everything. Wednesday I will be playing Yakuza 0 with some of my friends. Thursday I have a new cover up. I will also be co-streaming the Capcom Direct. Friday is Dual Destinies over on Max's channel along with Cinna. And then Saturday we're back to the Great Ace Attorney. And then Sunday once again will be... Oh, actually, this upcoming Sunday is not Zero Escape. I lied earlier. This upcoming Sunday is not Zero Escape. It's going to be a community night, if you will, in my Discord server. So if you're not already a part of it, I take the last Sunday of the month off, a thing that I started doing last month. We're going to be watching the Ace Attorney movie. If you haven't seen the Ace Attorney movie, you should. And you should watch it with us. So join the Discord server if you're not already a part of it, and you too can be a part of the Discord community night. Yeah, the entire stream schedule is, pending. It's subject to change and whatnot, but I do want to try and at least somewhat commit to it, even if I end up missing a day or so. All right. Is anybody live? Let me see. I do think Cabernet tomorrow is going to be like more early afternoon. So I know not as many people are probably going to be available then, but if you get a chance to tune in, Cabernet is a really cool game and I want everybody to check it out. All right, who is live right now? That's me. Everybody wrapped up like as I was like finishing. So I guess we're gonna not to do a raid today. That's fine. I'm gonna go ahead to my Discord server and yap about games probably. There's a new Zero Escape channel in there because I started Zero Escape, but that's gonna be it for this week. We'll see you with Zero Escape in 2 weeks, probably. So that'll be July 6th. That's crazy. June's already over. Yeesh. Anyway, that's gonna be it for today. Yeah.
Have a good night, everybody. Stay cool when it's super hot out. If you are in the southern hemisphere, stay warm. All right. Have a good night, everybody.